But then in this new lineup, I'm not sure. Has Cryptix or Pickles taken his role as the more lurk style player? Or has he just not found his comfort zone yet in the team?
Well, the thing is, he does have great moments. We've seen Jesp, obviously, when he's playing to the best of his ability, he is a big powerhouse, right?
Yeah.
Consistently high fragging, always doing damage. He is one of those high rollers once he gets himself into a good mindset. But again, a very emotional player. Needs to have the hype behind him. This is where Jakey comes in quite massively as well. You constantly see Jake floating around Jesp, getting him pumped up, getting him built up. And that's why Jake is a coach. As much as he isn't as vocal as Neil in that sort of role, a lot more strategic, a lot more behind the scenes, and only will try and affect a player in a way where he knows it's to a benefit.
I feel like Neil's someone who, God, we say that name a lot, don't we? I feel like Neil is someone who has more impact on the day in the server, whereas Jake's impact as a coach is more
strategic or behind the
preparing for the games, the time leading up to the games. That week beforehand is where he has his real impact. He is rather quiet once the game goes live, but then again, not everyone's got the same passion as Neil.
It's true. Welcome back to the Neil series.
The Neil series, exactly. What's your prediction, though? I said 16-9 cash in favor of Method. What do you reckon?
I think, looking at it on paper right now, Method should be able to take this, but because of Method having an odd streak across the board where they're actually getting beaten by lesser teams in recent fashion, we've seen them obviously losing against Team Descend in
oh yeah, of course,
in EPS a couple of days back. So this is the thing that scares me for me if coming into that. Unless Method really switch things up, come back looking fresh, put their minds past that, and look at it as a new day, then I think that Endpoint could actually come in here, maybe within the region though of a 16-14. I'm thinking full 30 rounds. Potentially.
Method's sort of the team where they match the enemy's level, right? If you're playing bad Counter-Strike, they're going to match it and play some bad Counter-Strike as well. If they're playing versus a top-level team in the UK, they play outstanding. Let's see if they'll deliver that tonight. So we go into the first round of the first game, or the third game, sorry, of the third week of the Elite Series. Endpoint win the ninth round. They decide to start on that CT side. Let's take a look at the buy. Ooh, smoke. CZ bought for Nilzinho. 4 sets of Kevlar to go around that as well. And on that CT side, Ian Harding, Imi there. Smoke grenade, diffuse kit. 4 sets of Kevlar. Let's see if this is going to be the fast aggression towards the Nilzinho smoke, of course, for CT. We're down to Jesp.
Jesp on the early contact here will spot them out, trying to keep them at bay, just give his teammates enough time to actually rotate over to aid him. But he's getting overwhelmed because they push their way through, will eventually be punished by Weber there. Ian arrives on the scene, Imi just hammering out a couple of shots here and there, makes his presence known, hoping to ward off the opposition, but they've been able to secure the site and they now get the bomb planted as well.
They have the kit, but no smoke. Mighty Max on the flank gets taken down by Stanley. We're into a 5 versus 3.
That's a critical frag as well. Taking down Max there is massive to slow the pace of this potential retake, but Pickles does a little bit of damage. Cryptix as well, so key in these clutch situations, normally can be very effective if he can strike at the right time, but Jenko will rip his way through him with the Glock.
Cryptix there, not happy with that one. Jesp unable to find any frags as the T's flood in through B main. It's going to be the pistol going in favor of Method. That T pistol was so crucial for them. Their T side on Cash is definitely the best in the UK. I mean, we saw them play, the last time we saw them play Cash on LAN was EPS Finals versus Fish 123. And what was it called? 16-4? 16-4. So yeah, I think they had a 12-3 T-half after winning the pistol in the first buy round. It's very easy to be stuck in a rut, 0-5 down, 0-6 down versus Method on your CT side Cash. Looking at the buy as well, you'll be seeing the force spike come up from the CTs. Max just the CZ. Flashbang, no Kevlar. Imi there, the scout, which means he will not have an AWP into that first buy round, being the new AWPer on this team Endpoint side.
Obviously a role that even though he didn't want to be put in, he's actually been performing to a good standpoint. We've seen him getting some good impact frags on the table, so at least he is actually doing some damage in the situation.
Has tagged up Weber as well. It's going to be 4 players in team main, 1 towards Squeaky, 2 MAC-10s, 3 SMGs now to flood this site. Let's see if these seed sets and Co on the CT side can hold this.
Gonna go for the explosive approach, just burst your way out, try and overwhelm the opposition, use all of that aggression in your favor, just speed your way through as the smokes do go down, they zone out the CTs and now start going for the 1-for-1 fights. And it does go in their favor so far. They have the man advantage play with Jenko's gonna be the one doing the majority of the damage right now as he swings wide with that Max 10 in hand trying to clear the side, but they don't realize the location of Mighty Max. Pickles does a bit of damage as well. The pistols actually start to come into play. If Max would have got the second frag on towards Weber there, it could have been huge.
Could indeed. 2 versus 2 now. Weber is low as well. Was tagged by the scout. 1 shot from that scout will take him down. Gets stinked up though. Still has to cross. It's a bad smoke there from Nilzinho. Unfortunately, Pickles will take him down. Weber now in the 2 versus 1.
You can see Weber, his hand is forced as well. We can't just go for the commit on the bomb plant here. Trying to use that last bit utility he had. Lobs out the flashbang, goes for the peak, but doesn't get anything from it. Just a measly tidbit of information. Imi and Pickles have to play together now for this retake.
Bomb is planted, so money in the bank right now for Method. Problem is that they need this round. Imi is low HP. Has no Kevlar as well, so could take him down, but that scout's like an AWP versus Weber, sorry. As he has such low HP, Imi towards Highway will thread the needle. find that second tag onto Weber and take him down. You can see that the frustration in his eyes. He knew that he could have had that. Good rotation from Imi as well. He was towards Car, got dinked up, got spotted, rejoined with the rest of his team as well to play that 2 versus 1 very well together.
Yep, good work across the board there. Pickles, obviously, as well. The great site defense coming out with that Deagle. 2 critical kills into the round that allowed them to claw it back into the position they get in. So they do go 1-1 for now, obviously stopping Method from claiming the 3 rounds off the back of their pistol win.
And that's big as well, right? On your CT side, it's all about can you get to 6 or 7 rounds. You do anticipate these CTs to be losing the half, especially in the UK scene of these UK games. It's all about how strong are your T sides, how weak are your CT sides. So, crucial force by 1 there for Team Endpoint on the CT side. Cash, going to be Imi back on the scout, obviously. P250 now brought up as well. On the flip side, though, Method on their T side will be buying up 2 AKs, SMG, and 2 Tech 9s. Mighty Max towards Highway now. That's exactly where Stanley is, but does he know Jenko's still on boost?
It's going to be interesting to see how he actually plays this one. The bomb's been lobbed over, but Max doesn't spot that as well, as they want to try and stop the bomb from being left in no man's land as they take this mid control sparingly.
Stanley on the SMG as well. He could be left here trying to lurk if they go back towards B. Max gets the flashbang, peeks out, gets spotted by Jenko though. Will eventually fall back. So we've got 3 players here towards mid. Stanley close highway. If a flashbang comes in, that could be the end for Mighty Max.
Max spots out his back, but actually overextends a little bit, and Weber spots out his head and knocks it clean off, Snods.
Does indeed. 5 versus 4 now. 1 minute on the clock and the bomb is still towards Ven. 2 players Ven, 1 player Highway. It's looking like a B split here as we have Neilzinho with just a CZ towards B main. Could go for the double fake as well. But it's looking like Method are waiting for some CT aggression. They want to go to the site where they get the next kill. If they catch Pickles here towards this A site, which they don't because he finds the kill onto Jenko and puts us into a 4 versus 4. But they are slowly pinching this A site from Highway and Squeaky.
Pickles needs to do more as well. He knows the location of Stanley, but he has to get that frag to actually put them in more of a manageable spot. Right now, this does favor the T's in the position they're in. Pulse coming out as well, trying to do some damage, but actually loses his head instantly. Pickles, a big nuisance on the bomb site. Imi comes over to help him as well. And Pickles just tearing his way through them as they push in. Great work with the FAMAS. Will punish everyone. It falls towards Weber, but Cryptix peeks out and says hello. Finds the kill with a UMP, and they also get the extra cash off the back of that.
Forced by Lost by Method there. 3 players staying alive for that CT economy as well on the Endpoint side. Means their money will slowly start to build. Let's take a look at the buy now. Obviously, we saw Pickles last week on B.
Yep.
Had a lot of struggles. Endpoint said they changed some stuff up on their CT side. Cash is looking like they've moved Charlie Pickles from B towards that A site anchor. Better angles maybe for him. He's known for having good aim and not, typically the best positional play. Obviously, a site like A, peek towards A main, peek towards Highway. He has the aim. And obviously we saw some very nice headshots coming in from him as they tried to take control of that site. Going to be eco now for Method. Endpoint need 4 or 5 alive to build up their bank slowly. Pickles playing it smart as well. Plays the retake, doesn't take any risks. And instead they will have the range advantage in this retake.
Yep, smart stuff right now as they just hold back and then going to play together as a unit as they walk their way through, hoping to just go blow for blow and come out on top here in this retake. Pickles gets dinked down though and eventually will be taken out by Stanley. Imi tries to retaliate with a UMP in hand, gets off a bit of a spray, and eventually will find the frag back on towards Stanley as there's only 3 teams remaining now as well. This terrifying trio hunkered down, ready to try and ward off the defense that's coming through, but the retake goes swimmingly so far until Neilzinho will strike through the smoke, eliminate Imi, but even then this is unlikely he'll do anything else. The defuse comes out, only 2 casualties for the side of Endpoint, a pretty clean round as we now work our way back through to the next buy for Method.
We do indeed. So once again, 3 players staying alive for the Endpoint side. You can see 4,000 across the board. And actually, Imi did have 6,000, but does buy up into the AWP. 450 left in the bank for him. Method's buy. It's going to be no AWP on their side. Pulse, Jenko, Neilzinho, they can all wield the AWP. They seem to juggle it around depending on playstyle and what they need. Neilzinho is more of that supportive AWPer. Pulse is your all-around AWPer, can do everything, and Jenko's the fast, aggressive AWPer. Talking about aggression, Imi matches it, takes down Jenko.
Massive opening frag there for Imi. He's also toying with Jenko, but unfortunately, he will get taken down. Pulse even that was towards the wall, so he strikes his way through, nearly gets the follow-up kill. If he would have taken down Pickles there, Snods, it would have been a massive catalyst into the round for Method. They still find their way on towards the site, but dazed and confused, Stanley loses out in a 1v1 with Mighty Max.
He does indeed. 2 versus 4 now. Low HP onto Pickles as he is towards Forklift. Can play the headshot angle if he crouches as well. Good molly from Neilzinho. He will flush out Mighty Max from quad. Jumps back towards side, but he's safe here. Weber though, has the gap in the door, trying to spray him down, but just tags him up. Pickles finds the frag onto Neilzinho as well. Weber once again in the clutch and does lose that one. 1 versus 4. Another buy round 1 for Endpoint.
When they were through. Thing is as well, they need to try and minimize the amount of casualties they lose per round. Right now, they're doing a fairly effective job of it. We only saw, what was it, 2 players went down into that?
2 again,
yeah.
and then 1 in the previous round.
Yeah, which is pretty good overall. They're keeping that economy sustainable. Obviously, Imi as well, they need to try and keep that AWP out on him. He is going to be going for those more aggressive picks. It was a good opener into this round.
Pickles right now, 11-3.
Yeah.
11 kills after 5 rounds. Let's see though. Pistols, eco for the T side. And Jenko's already taken out the sky by Imi as he drops from heaven. Puts us into a 5 versus 4, 1 minute 30 on the clock. The T is just waiting for some aggression towards mid, but if you're Endpoint right now, you've been winning the slow pace game, playing it slow. They're winning the retakes versus the Pistols. No need to give up casualties.
Yep. Smart stuff, obviously get that opening frag. Max towards mid, still playing it back. He will get some information off the early spam that's coming out from Weber there, but has no reason to really commit into this, as you said. Hold the crossfire. Unfortunately, Jesp actually will get punished by Pulse's Deagle.
He will indeed. That puts us into a 4 versus 4. 1 minute 10 on the clock. T's could have mid as well. CT defense is split right now 2-2. 2 towards B and 2 towards A. They've made a smart decision here. You lose a portion of the map, you need to get map control back on your CT side. You've got Max pushing towards A main, should spot all the information he needs.
Cryptic's in position as well, just waiting for them to try and burst their way round through Ven. Has the Molotov, this will force their hand. Stanley has to commit into this, but Cryptic's dispatches of him so swiftly as well. Finds the headshot, hungry for more as he hunkers down, ready for the push to come in. But Weber will eliminate him with a Deagle. Imi on the site with the AWP, could be a little bit awkward for the man, but hopefully he can pull something out of his hat. Struggling to connect the actual shots, but will take down Milzinho in a 1 versus 1. But Weber still consistently just ripping his way through with this Deagle, Snods. Pickles will try and take the fight, holding towards CT cross, spots out his head, but couldn't quite connect the shot. Starts to get overwhelmed from both angles. They're pushing individually though. If he finds this fragment towards Max, this could become a little bit awkward. Luckily enough, they do play together, peek at the right time, and they take him down.
3 players falling on that CT side versus the Pistols and eco of Method. Once again though, that's another round on the CT side from Endpoint. Impressive so far.
Yep.
We saw them only get 3 rounds on their CT side versus Infuse last week. Pickles revitalized on the A side, 13-3 now after just 6 rounds, so keeping up that 2 frag a round.
And this is the thing as well, it seems like, as you sort of spoke about there, they found the role that Pickles can excel in. He kind of always was more of that sort of Peggy to the Endpoint team back
just
when
aim,
had Peggy in there. You want to rely on him more for his individual sort of sentry capability. Pickles, you hunker him down the site, allow him to rip his way through with that unreal individual prowess, and not worry about him having to command a site so much or call the pack and have to make those split-second decisions.
Exactly that. So, 1 minute 30 on the clock. It's going to be the slow default here from Method on the T side. No AWP into play once again, but it will be the AWP in the hands of Ian Harding. Imi, once again, wielding that gun. Whenever we cast Method on Cash, it seems like on the T side, they always have Jenko and Stanley boosted up on their T side, and they go for picks. Imi now onto a white box. Might be able to catch them off guard with this off angle.
Here's the thing as well, obviously, the last time we saw them actually play over on Cash against Infuse, they were losing mid-control consistently. It was always Infuse taking control early on. This time around, Imi actually strikes swiftly, takes down Stanley. That's a massive opener, slows him down. He's also quite a big frag in-house into the side of Method.
He is indeed. So 5 versus 4 there. Imi finds the first frag for the CT side. As we are into round number 7. Jesp playing back checkers. Weber unfortunately doesn't quite have the Molotov, but has the aim instead. Lands the headshot to Jesp. 4 versus 4, and they're swarming this B site.
Just going to try and overwhelm Cryptic's here. He's hunkered down, luckily enough, and he will try and peek at the right time, but plays it poorly, unfortunately. Will lose his head as Jenko strikes Imi. Burnt to a crisp nearly as well. Forced to fall back. He didn't want to get sent off to the Burns Ward just yet.
It's a shot through the smoke as well onto Pulse. That's quite lucky. That puts us into a 3 versus 3. The Molotov comes in towards default as well. It's going to be winnable now for Endpoint after that.
Definitely still manageable as the nades come in, but they are burning through their utility. They only have the Flash and Molly left on Mighty Max. They're trying to get the information. You can see hoping to just get one extra little bit of an advantage into the round. Max coming in from the rear could be the difference maker if he catches Jenko off guard here. But timing is going to be so key. Flashbang goes out, they try and strike together. Jenko unfortunately sidelines him. Pickles fires back though as Pickles gets 2. He will then fall in. He comes in with a final shot though. They lock it down. A defuse as well. Endpoint right now rolling through on their CT side.
So 3K there for the IGL captain himself, Imi. Shot through the smoke onto Pulse. Suddenly opens up the chance for that retake to happen. B-site Cash, notorious for being one of the hardest sites to retake, along with, you know, your A-site Cobbles, your B-site Mirages. The reason being is there's so many close range angles, there's so many crossfires that the T-side can have. So when they have that man advantage, it is a huge advantage in itself. 6-1 now, Method, 5 round deficit for them as they're going to be forced onto another buy. 4 AKs, 1 up onto Nilzini, but lack of utility for him. And this time it's not Pulse, it's on Jenko on the AWP. It's going to be Nilzini. We should set up some more of a passive style, maybe holding towards checkers while the riflers push up. Instead though, it's Weber on Lurk, going to be boosted up. This might mean a B execute towards that B site, and then Weber late peeks to try and catch any rotations through vent. Just setting up their nades. Jenko leading the charge here with the AK instead of the AWP. Imi rotates back around towards CT to hold B main. If any of these T players walk into Imi's AWP in his current form the past few weeks, they should be taking out the server. Just peeks towards mid, spots nothing, so they know they're stacked towards a site. They're stacked towards A or B. Without the information though, they still have to play 2 to a site.
Imi could be blocked off very easily here playing towards CT. They do have the utility to zone him out quite efficiently. Just depends how the T's actually play this nods. If they peek dry, surely he'll get the opener. There's the smoke coming through from Stanley. If he peeks late though before it blooms, could be kind of awkward. Imi as well, doing the old classic now and then, keeps getting those smoke shots off.
Doesn't go through the smoke just yet. Eventually will though towards headshot. Jess now towards vent. He needs a flash towards B main and he gets it, but blinds himself as well. T's just stampeding away from the B bomb site. They're rotating back to A. It's down to Max and Pickles. He's had a good performance so far, but he's really going to have to step up now. 35 seconds left. 4 players towards T main and 1 player towards mid.
Probably the 2 boys in blue you'd want towards that site, though, if there is going to be a bombardment towards it. Max and Pickles definitely got a lot of firepower behind them. They are going to slowly tiptoe out. Max is aware of this, though. Finds Jenko, then the flick as well. Back on towards Pulse, hungry for more. Spots out Nilzinho and strikes upon him. That's a hat trick for Max so far. Can he make it the quad kill? Unfortunately not, as Stanley will return fire. Weber as well comes into effect, but there's Imi. No shut down Weber. There's no time at all. He can grab the bomb, but he just has to hightail it out of there. Jesp's in the rear, and he will strike.
7 to 1 now. Another buy round 1 for Endpoint. No bomb planted as well. There should be the quasi buy now from Method on their T side. Tech9, armor, light utility. Could go for a door burst. Could go for a burst through the B main smoke. You know, Imi's been AWPing B a lot. You could expose that. They leave, Cryptics alone towards B side often. So, pause comes in. I believe it is tactical on the Method side. What are they thinking about doing? So, one of the setups we've seen so far is when Imi is AWPing towards CT or B main, you have Jesp there close towards vent. One of the problems with AWPing towards B is you're so susceptible to an execute. If you are an AWPer, you generally want to say, okay, the T's know I'm AWPing B. They might exploit that. I need someone vent. I know Pulse calls that. I know I used to call it.
Yeah.
Question is, Ian Harding, I'm sure he will, but we've seen Jesp there already, actually, so he is doing a good job on that one. Having that player support towards vent is huge. You can see what happens if a good time flashbang comes in towards B main, just drops out, sprays down a player, sprays down 2 player. Even if it goes 1 for 1, just denying the push is all that they need.
That's the thing, mid-control so far as well has been fairly lax. Even though they are attempting to take control,
Yep.
If we don't have the active defense from Imi, Max is still playing it smart. He's at least getting the info and then rotating off.
Yeah, there's 2 styles of playing mid, right? You can either play your 1-3-1 or you can play your 2-1-2. So you have your you have Mighty Max and Pickles towards A. You have Imi as rotate, usually around middle, and then you have Jesp. Sorry, Jesp is the mid player, and you have Imi and Pickles towards B. If you do play the 2-1-2 setup, which they are now, Imi is actually anchoring the mid position right now towards connected with the AWP. You play to give up mid, right? You rotate that AWP towards quad, you can hold highway, you rotate it back towards CT, you hold B main, you have a rifle to play back checkers and hold vents. Or you just hold towards connector, you play back in CT spawn, but still, the way they play it, they're playing to give up mid and they're forcing the T's into their crossfires, into their sights, into their stacks. And it's been paying dividends so far as they are 7 to 1 up. 6 rounds now separating these 2 teams as we head into round number 9. It's going to be the CZ on Nilzinho, 4 AKs around him. And once again, the AWP on him.
Still trying to go for those pop shots, at least make his presence known, but the true attack is coming towards the A-bomb site. They peek out dry as well. No information has been given away for free. Max will strike first, but Jenko retaliates. Max could be caught off guard here as well. He's trying to get the Molotov down, but somehow he's just able to stay alive and tear his way through. Max, the one-man army there towards that site, but eventually he will fall. It's on Jenko and Weber now.
So, Weber towards vents. What can you really do here? 3-man CT rotation from Carr. Or off the cross, maybe they smoked highway, so the fact that he's fallen there, Jenko has died. But look, they smoked the cross. He has no effect into this round.
He will go through the smoke, though. Actually finds the first kill and the second as well towards Cryptic somehow. Imi's going to tap the bomb. Looks like he might actually go for the full commit. Weber's charged in towards him, but Imi gets away with it. Does he get the frag as well there?
I think he has. I can see his knife in his side. Oh, is he teabagging him?
Imi's gone for it.
Dear.
The birthday boy. Absolutely loving it.
What is it? I think it's 7-0 on LAN for Nilzinho, is it? Obviously, they won 4-0 Insomnia finals.
Yeah.
They won 3-0 in the UK Masters finals on LAN. So, 7-0 streak Nilzinho has over Imi. This might be the game that breaks that map streak. 8-1.
Probably the Undertaker loses a match at WrestleMania.
I don't watch wrestling, mate.
Yeah,
it's another reference that just goes over my head. I'm so sorry.
It's fine.
It must be so bad casting me. I apologise.
Well, that's just terrible.
Cheers, man. Love you too. 8-1. 1 minute 30 on the clock. 5 AKs on that T side. No AWP onto Neilzinho, Jenko, or Pulse. So they're going to be playing the 5 rifle setup. When you play that 5 rifle setup, you usually play for the trade game. You go for contact plays. You stack up together. You have close spacing between each other, so you can go for the trade frags. But Neilzinho is alone towards B main. Imi might be able to pick him off one by one.
Depends the individual battle coming into this. It's important as well, because if they keep playing like this, they have to just keep themselves rallied. Endpoint are a team that if they do take a big, impactful hit, that's what can stagger them and actually cause them to drop mentally. But right now, everyone's riding high. They're looking happy. They just need to keep this mentality as they find their way through. Jesp towards Vent here could be so critical as mid-control is being encroached upon. The team's trying to slip their way out. He will strike, finds the first frag, gets back as well, and has so much information. But he needs to try and get another kill to aid his teammates, get them time to rotate over. Unfortunately, falls, but Jenko ripping his way through. So impactful. We did get them low, but they're just dying all over the place. This is awkward now. Imi and Pickles to attempt to retake, highly unlikely at this point.
Surely not another shot through the smoke here from Imi. Instead gets flashed off the angle. May have to just save him. Get 8-1 up.
Yeah.
These have been close rounds, remember, Jack. 1 versus 1s, 2 versus 2s. Sliggy, if we can see the money real quick. So yeah, look at that. 2,000, 4,000 onto Pickles, Max, and Imi. And then 350 onto the rest. So if they save this, Imi can drop over 2 guns. Pickles can drop a... how much are they going to get? 1.4k? Yeah, so Pickles can drop over a gun to Mighty Max. So if they save, they can actually have a 4x or 4 rifles into the next round. And that next round is so crucial, right? That's where they can try and reset Method once again. This is going to be 8-2. If Endpoint win this next buy round, make it 9-2 in their favor, then they could be running away with a big lead here, Jack.
Crazy as well, actually, how many bomb plants we've seen go down for Method right now. Been able to get 5 consistent plants. As they work their way through, which is pretty scary. Pickle's actually doing damage, though, into the late round.
Yeah.
As long as he stays alive, that's actually a nice little bit of damage done to their economy as well. And they are going to be forced to rebuy quite a few AKs now.
So, let's see what the buy's like on the T side as well. Cryptic's there, in front of your screens. That's the Bianca for Endpoint. Behind him is Mighty Max. Weber there. He's the player that takes some of the mantle of cooling, right? He's the one that suggests to Neilzinho, okay, look, this doesn't work, let's try this, let's change this. So it'll be interesting to see exactly what information he's giving over right now. Just somehow, some way, Mighty Max is blind, but eventually uses that.
Bit awkward there, Max getting taken down very early on. This time around, Method actually having that early advantage in their favor could affect the flow of the game, as mid-control in the previous rounds has been quite hard to take, but it was a breeze this time.
Neilzinho now expecting the aggression from Cryptics, but he doesn't. Through the smoke, he will find that frag, though. On the other portion of the map, Imi will fall towards mid and opens things up.
Weber gets tagged as well in Vent, knocked down to just below 40 HP. Pickles has somehow gone for the push all the way through A main. He gets behind them, takes down Jenko. This is ridiculous. Look how much map control has now been sectioned off by the CT stunts. 1
minute on the clock, 3 versus 3. Pickles in the backlines, in the flank. Stanley now needs to find his frag onto Pickles, put it into a 3 versus 2. Weber's low HP as well. Spots outstanding. Doesn't see the bomb just yet. The bomb is on Neilzinho towards B. It's a big frag to find. Pickles nails Stanley through the head. Pulse now, sorry, I have the bomb. But Pulse towards B alone. Weber towards mid. If he finds a frag towards A, that could sell a fake. But nevertheless, we're going to be seeing the reset onto Method's economy.
Thing is, Pulse can't rotate properly here as well. No matter where he tries to go, he is cut off. So Weber has to come over and try and assist him. They are going to go for the full-on forced attack towards the B site. Sorry, but Cryptics hunkered down could be such a nuisance. Doesn't have any nades to play with, but can make the call out. He's going to get that information. It's too late into the round for this to be a fake. They know it is going to be a commit as well, so the full rotate comes through. They need to try and assemble and actually shut this one down, though. They are going to arrive on the scene. Jess will strike first, takes down Weber. It all falls in the hands of Pulse. Unfortunately, he can't clutch it. That's 2 frags for Jess and another round for Endpoint.
9-2, money reset right now for Method on their T side. In the pre-face before this game, I said, Method are known for how good their T side cash is, right? But it seems like it's just falling flat so far. Usually, they go over boost, they find so many kills toward that middle portion of the map, and then from there, they've already got the man advantage. So they just simply split towards the site and play the trade game. Endpoint aren't giving away the early frags. Method, in the 5 versus 5s, when they're a man down as well, they're still trying to brute force their entries towards these sites and just get crossfired and taken down by the AWPs and rifles from Team Endpoint. The reset comes in. A Glock onto Neilzinho. Why has Weber bought an AK? Did he save that? I don't think he did.
No, it was they all died.
Yeah, so they've all bought. So Neilzinho
Someone
buys...
dropped him that as well.
This is confusing. So, Nilzinho does have a Glock. He bought a smoke, Kevlar helmet, and I believe he must have expected to be dropped to Tech 9 or something, but instead it's going to be the AK in the hands of Weber. One of the most established people in the UK scene. If there's someone you want with that rifle, it's going to be him.
Oh yeah, a ridiculous wealth of experience there. I mean, we saw him over and obviously back in the Source days, tearing his way through the German scene as well. Always been around doing damage, but can he roll back the years into this round, Snods? That's going to be the question. It's all about today that matters, the attack towards the A bomb site.
Playing retake as well towards Highway and Car. Pickles and Imi to do as much damage as they can to the T's as they approach the site and once the bomb is down.
You mean the elevated angle? The support is close by as well. It just depends how they actually play this one. Method using their utility to zone out the CTs efficiently, force them to bend, and see if they can break them after they get their way on towards the bomb site. Imi doing damage, actually comes out big with 2 frags. Pickles chimes in as well, taking down Weber. This is huge so far as they haven't lost a single man. It's been a clean sweep. If they can have a clean round into this, it would be great, but Pulse puckers himself up a little bit, does grab that deagle and start to do some damage. Snods finds the head of Pickles, trying to respond that on towards Imi as well, as they are retaking together, but Nilzinho's actually hunkered down as well. He's got his AK back from Weber. He scooped it back up and trying to do some damage. Caught off guard though, unfortunately, to get sidetracked. Pulse is still trying to do something towards the end. It isn't quite meant to be. They do take a couple of casualties, which a few dinks there and there. They get the bomb plant on Method as well, so at least they have a little bit of a boost going into this next round.
Double digits now for Endpoint on the CT side. 10-2 is the scoreline. I did not anticipate this, Jack.
Yeah.
Stellar performance from Endpoint. Seems like when practice doesn't go well, in officials they play well, and vice versa when they have good practice, so maybe that's a sign, who knows. 10-2 now. It's going to be 8-round deficit for Method on their T side. Round number 13. Going to be the eco as well. They might be forfeiting round number 11 for Endpoint. Or back onto Imi. AK's picked up for Pickles on Max towards that A site. Jesp and Cryptics on the M4s. And on the T side, it's going to be no sets of Kevlar. Tech 9s, P250s. That's all they have in their arsenal. Going to be stacking up towards B, going for the burst towards the speed bomb site. But good CT defense here.
Cryptic's in position. He's been looking good in the previous round. Back with Jesp as well, the Swedish superstar that starts to hammer down. Unfortunately, will fall short. Max comes into effect as well as Cryptic has fallen. There's Imi doing his old standard play, jumping down, striking from CT. It's just Stanley and Jenko left, and they are spread thin.
Bombmaster across to the site as well. There's a gap in that smoke, and actually, Imi will take advantage of that. Stanley does fall. Jenko now in the 1 versus 3.
Flashbang comes through. Jenko, best case scenario, if he gets the bomb plant down, just gets that extra little bit of a cash bonus because it's unlikely he wins the round here. They have 3 members still alive on the side. Imi gets a lot of information as well, going for these jiggle peaks, just toying with him right now. They don't want to allow him to do anything into this one. He is going to try and strike, but Imi will overpower him.
Another 3k for Imi on the orb. That was the eco, of course. No sets of Kevlar, so nothing to read into that much. There will be 11 rounds on the CT side for Endpoint. Weber, they're shaking his head. He knows exactly how detrimental this is going to be in the next half, right? If they lose the pistol, that could be it. The first map lost in seconds. Still, though, round number 14, 5 AKs. We haven't seen an AWP come out on the T side and been used effectively. We saw Nilzinho just hold and play quite passive with it. I want to see Jenko Pulse play aggressive and try and find the first entry, just as Imi is now towards B.
Look at this, the contact AWP played. That's great as he's able to pull it out, takes down Jenko. There's another frag going their way as well. Cryptics pops the head of Pulse. This is the round where Method needed to try and do something, give themselves a buffer into the next half. And already, they have no idea what's going on. Great shock and all play from Endpoint there.
Exactly that. 5 versus 3 now. Cryptics is low. Spray comes out from Stanley. You've got Mighty Max towards Vents as well as backup. Crossfire comes in from Max and Cryptics and then lock it down. 4 versus 2. The player of low HP has fallen. That's Cryptics. That's what you want, especially. 4 players on their CT side, all of them full HP. Method now backs against the ropes. Bomb towards T-spawn. Nilzinho towards mid-main. They have no control over the map. They have to retake it. Versus Pickles towards the A side. Boost will come in towards mid, maybe? Actually, no. They were thinking about it. But instead, Weber and Nilzinho, these guys have been playing together for years and years. Right now, they have to make sure this chemistry shows.
It's true. Boosted up towards Shroud as well. He's in a prime time position. It just depends if they actually clear this. Sometimes you do see teams get hesitant in these situations. They try and barge their way, and Nilzinho and Co should be aware of this. They normally check it quite consistently. Pickles, if not, will be such a powerhouse from this angle. He spotted out the barrel of Nilzinho's rifle as well, so he knows they're starting to come through. They walk out blindly, strikes with the first frag. Weber tries to respond as well, but Pickles will hammer down, finds the headshot, and Endpoint still trucking their way through.
There it is, 15-2. Endpoint 10 rounds in the lead after the first half, and there's still one more round to play for. There's a big difference between a 12-3 half and a 13-2 half.
Yeah.
12-3, you win the pistol. Don't allow the T's to get the bomb down. Win versus the Force, win versus the Eco. You could be seeing a 12-6 scoreline. And then, yeah, Method could definitely bring that one back. 13-2, though. That's where things really do get dire. Round number 15. Tech 9 sees head by for the T side. Gonna be going for the door burst. Mighty Max boosted up. Holding for the cross towards forklift. Pickles towards quad as well. They're in great positions to counter the door burst.
Warburst comes out, they're going to try and charge their way through. They actually get the opening frag in close range combat as Webber's able to wield that Tech 9, but Max strikes back, tears his way through two of them. Jenko, though, eventually is able to redeem his team a little bit as it falls into a 3 versus 3 method. They need to try and play on these close angles. That's the only way their pistols are going to be effective. That Molotov actually flew in as well, burnt them so low. They're forced to move out of prime time positions. They're bouncing around. You can see everyone very awkward right now, Snods. They look confused and a bit panicked. Pulse has grabbed himself a rifle, though, finds a headshot back towards Zimmy, and it will be a 2 versus 3 as they make their slow approach through, just spamming through the smokes, hoping to at least get something. They get a slight bit of information, but Pulse overpowers them. Pulse playing so effectively with this rifle could be the sole reason they get 3 rounds on the board off the back of this half. Nilzinho swings up close, Jess trying to take the 1v1 to him, but can't quite find it. Jenko will find the headshot, and they do get 3 rounds on the board, but is that going to be enough of a buffer?
They were all so low HP as well. 1 bullet from Jesper's AK. Could have been 13 on the board. But nevertheless, it is 12-3. Definitely didn't expect to be saying that one. Endpoint CT side had it on lock, right? They weren't giving away the early frag towards mid. They played it passive towards the middle portion of the map. They forced Method just to group together. How many times did they go A? I think they tried it twice, or every single time they're on pistols, they'll go towards the A site. With the rifles, they'll just group up towards B, and then just get annihilated as soon as they try to cross towards that site.
That's the thing. Didn't we see, like, what, 3 hits towards the B-bomb site, I think, in total?
Buy rounds, yeah.
Yeah, it was very sort of all over the place. It was constantly towards the A site, but Pickles was the sole reason in the early game that they just couldn't get in. Consistently getting 2 or even 3 frags per attack on towards the site. Exactly
that. I do wonder how many frags he did get in the first half. It must have been, what, 17 maybe? We saw both of them have a similar affair on Mirage in the first game of the day. Imi there. IGL, leader, captain, whatever you want to call him.
Baldy.
Oh, you're giving it. So, we are going into the second pistol of the third game tonight. Let's take a look at the buys. Endpoint on that T side. This is a crucial pistol to win. They win this. That should be the game. Done and dusted. You win versus the Force Buy, win versus the Eco, and you're at match point 50-3. You know, the game's pretty much over. Interesting as well, the last time we casted Method, it was 16-3 to them. And now, they're seeing the opposite side to it, how it was for Fish 123 at the Prem finals. Anyway, though, Nilzinho, smoke kit, forces a Kevlar onto the rest of the CTs. Aggression towards mid, they're going to give the mid boost and try to come in behind a main, but the attack is from Squeaky.
As they're going to try and flood their way through. Can the CTs actually hold this back? Nilzinho kicks it off, but Mighty Max has been able to slide his way in towards the bomb site fairly smoothly, gets it planted as well, and this full retake comes over. They're losing men all over the place, though. Max and Jess fall. It's on Cryptics. Normally, he is key in clutch situations, but this was too much of a tall order, and Stanley takes him down.
Clinical player there from Method on that CT pistol retake. Individually, they are probably the most skilled team in the UK, and right there it showed. They can get back into this one. 4-12 now as they win the pistol. The bomb did go down, so we might be seeing the full eco here from Endpoint. Then again, though, they could go for an audacious buy here to try and catch Method off guard. Pickles buys the PT50. Actually, Pickles there, 22-9, so 22 frags in your first half after having such a poor performance last week on Cash. Definitely stepping up to the plate this week. So, we saw what happened there, right? 12-4, Infuse versus Endpoint, and Endpoint managed to bring it back. Have we seen the repeat?
Definitely true. Could be the case right now. These SMGs struggling slightly. We did see Jenko actually fail out to get a frag towards mid. He does fall. Luckily enough, Pulse is on the site towards B, tearing his way through. He will actually go down in the end. Jenko's so low, but he just gets the early attack towards them. Pickles trying to hammer down on the trigger with that P250. The bomb is down in an awkward location as well. Unlikely he can do too much more into the round, but even then, 3 casualties against Method.
They've done more than enough right now. Obviously, 3 kills and the bomb going down, that's great, but they've already got their 3 kills, so job's done for this one. Pickles has no pressure. If he finds another frag here and turns into a 1 versus 1, the money on that CT side will be so low. Kit's though onto Webber. They can play retake. That's the question is, right? Do they want to allow Pickles to get the bomb? They have such good positions towards CT and towards that B-bomb site that when Pickles crosses, he should just fall.
Pickles finally going to try and dip his toes in the water and see what can happen. Makes his approach round. Weber spots him out, and he will unfortunately get taken down there.
So, 5 to 12 as the buy comes in now from Endpoint. See what the money's like on the Method side as well. They lost 3 players in that last eco. How will that impact their economy? So, UMP kept from Weber. Pulse as well buys up the UMP to match that. Actually, no, gets dropped it, sorry. So, 4 M4s and a UMP onto Pulse. And the money is fairly decent. If Endpoint win this, force Method onto a UMP FAMAS buy, that could spell the end in the first map here from Method. The favourites, one of the favourites for the whole tournament as well. Not just this best of 2. 5 AKs on the Endpoint side. No AWP, unfortunately. If the bomb did go down, say Pickles did plant that, could have been seeing a glass cannon AWP potentially. But instead, they will be going for the 5 rifle setup, and interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, Weber playing close by garbage there as well. So yeah, wonder what he's going to be able to bring to the table right now. Bit of a stalemate. Endpoint just holding to see if there is any early information plays from Method, but nothing of the sort.
Nothing of the sort, indeed.
I know it's froze, mate.
Oh, really? Yeah.
There. I only just saw the timer.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you not know it was frozen?
No, mate. I didn't realize what's going on. I've only just looked up at the
dear.
timer. I was just looking at cryptics.
Handsome guy.
Yeah. Nice
Oh,
box as well. There you go.
There we go.
Oh, essentially nothing's changed. But there's the opening frag. Cryptics will take down Stanley as they've made their way onto the bomb site. Imi actually takes down Jenko as well as they've secured it fairly efficiently. The smokes are going to go down. Weber does attempt to respond as best as he can, but the bomb's been planted and they have 4 members hunkered there.
4 versus 3. Weber is low HP. They have kits on the CT side though, and 2 Molotovs and a smoke as well onto Pulse. But one of those mollies is taken out as Weber does full. 4 versus 2.
Pulse here, hoping to do something. But the call has been made, forced to back off now as they know they can't run the risk of going in for the retake here. Highly unlikely they'll get anything worthwhile. So they have to fall back. This is going to be 13 rounds on the board right now. 4 Endpoints, Nods.
13 to 5. Sliggy, can we see the money please real quick? Just want to see if they can drop over any guns. So they're going to get 1,400 in the bank. So they can only really drop over FAMAS's. Stanley can drop over. Actually, no, Stanley's dead, so he can't drop anything. So they will have an extra M4 into this buy. It is 13 to 5. They can eco this one and have a full buy and allow Endpoint to get to 14, but, you know, 14 to 5 down, you're going to have to win 11 rounds in the trot if you don't want to have overtime. So we could be seeing 3 rifles on the CT side and then 2 UMPs, or maybe a 5.7 full utility and a kit. But still, you have to be favouring Endpoint into this round. There's a very good call there from Imi to rush towards A, caught those CT players off guard, caught us off guard. And that does make it 13 on the board for Endpoint now. 5 versus 5. It's going to be the USP on Jenko. So they are saving. They are going to allow Endpoint to get to 14.
Yeah, this is pretty crazy, giving them the free one here.
It's confident as well. They're going to be anticipating that they're going to get 11 rounds in a row to not force OT. They need 10 in a row, and they can concede 1, and that would be overtime. But still, you have to be favouring Endpoint now. 5 AKs. This is the dream scenario. I don't think they're going to be anticipating playing versus the Eco. That's why they're playing so slow. They think this is a real buy round. Nilzinho and Pulse do have rifles, but they're playing so passive with them. They have both the rifles stacked towards B. If this isn't execute towards the A site, they will save the M4 and AK. But if they're lucky, and Imi calls to go B, they're taking the risk.
Making that plane out towards mid. They are going to get themselves into elevated angle. Jenko, most he can do is get some information. Spots out the foot as Jasp, and actually falls back though. Going to go for the peek once again, but they're up close personal now. Should be fairly easy. The flashbang goes over. He's going to be blind. Imi will get the opening kill. Actually not. Jenko strikes, overpowers Imi with a pistol in close range. Pickles will be able to get the trade back, but this leaves them in a 4 versus 4. Stanley as well. Close proximity towards door. He's going to be such a nuisance when they flood their way in towards the bomb site. That CZ can be an absolute powerhouse. Up close like this. Strikes upon Max from range as well. Takes him down, but wanted to focus towards door. Cryptics will return fire as they fall into a 2 versus 3. Weber's low, but they still need to get towards him as Nilzinho is just shredding them.
1 versus 3. Finds the first frag. Weber 2 HP. Nilzinho full HP. Kevlar, armor, and the AK.
Jess takes the fight, finds a frag to Nilzinho. This is actually manageable with the elevated angle from Weber. Even though he was low, had a better angle, is able to rain down.
He played that so smart. 2 HP, no Kevlar. He went for the off angle to catch Jesp off guard, and it worked. This might force an eco here. Actually, no. Imi goes straight for the buy. Double flashbang, AK Kevlar helmet as well. And there will be a buy on that T side. 2 Deagles, 1 Tech 9, 2 AKs onto Max and Imi. Are they going to play this one fast, Jack? 5 players heading towards the A side. They could boost and go over mid, but it's looking like they don't want any of that. Max going towards door, 4 players towards A main. Stanley here with a flashbang as well. This could spell the end.
They shouldn't be ready for this. They're all entirely blind. Stanley gets the first frag. Isn't overconfident as well. I like that. Gets the first opener and then falls back, but takes down Max in the actual round as well. This is huge. Pickles and Jess can retaliate as they start to dispatch the opposition fairly swiftly. Jenko letting out an absolute hailstorm of bullets from the M4 here. Wants to stop them from crossing. The bomb gets dropped, Snods. Cryptics, sure he's on the site, but he's got nothing that he can plant. He gets overpowered by Jenko as well.
3 players staying alive for the Method side. Jess typing away, saying what was wrong into that round. They had the 3 versus 4. Obviously, Stanley got the first frag, was traded out, and then just found a nice headshot towards Heaven onto Weber. But instead, they come back. Cryptic smoked off the site as well towards Highway. He didn't do the smoke that blocks off Highway and Car. So Endpoint taking a tactical pause here as well. What is it, 13-7? They don't want Method to get any momentum after winning that round.
Thing is as well, when you look at it right now, even though it is a close, it's actually quite a dominant scoreline for Endpoint, and it looks like they're close to being able to close this one out. With Method, even if they go through a half with sort of 4 rounds, 5 rounds, you can never count them out. Exactly. They can always instantly bounce back on their other half. And this is where Jake needs to come into effect as well. You
can see as well, he has the, what is that, a notepad? Not really a notepad, but printed off strats, right? So if you remember Zeus and Fallen, I remember the first time, what was it, that DreamHack Winter, it was like 2015, and Zeus had the notepad, and he was just reading off strats one by one what he thought would work when the tactical pauses came in. Jakey might be trying to mirror that. Has the list of strats, thinking about, okay, they're doing this, 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 we can do this, 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 try and counter that. Method on the CT side, what are you pointing at, Jack?
For the double AWP, mate.
Oh yeah, wow, I didn't see that. So Pulse and Weber AWPing. Jenko not on the AWP. I thought Jenko was the primary, but you never know in this scenario. He has 22 kills with the rifle, so if he's in form with the rifles, just keep him with that. It's going to be 13-7, round number 21. Fast play here. This could be the doorburst once again. They have Deagles, though, on 2 players, so Deagles, mobility, not really something you say in the same sentence.
Oh, and that absolutely sucks. Max getting taken down early. They can't go for the short smoke. They can't flash out, so they just have to go in dry right now, and it's a meat grinder. Surely they don't get anything out of this round. They do find a couple of frags here and there, and they've grabbed an AWP for Jesp as well, but Pickles tried to delay as much as he could, peeks out and gets punished because of this. Jesp as well won't be allowed a bomb plant. Tried to strike with the AWP and falls.
Method now only in a 5-round deficit. 13-8 is the scoreline. Endpoint can go for another buy here. If they don't get it done now, then there is potential for the comeback to happen. 13-9, force another eco, and actually, Endpoint are going to double eco for the AWPs.
And this is going to be 9 rounds on the board now for Method, getting ever so close. Endpoint are burning through the buffer they have.
Exactly, exactly. 13-5 up. They've conceded 3 rounds. The full eco here should be the 4th round. And at that point, it will only be 4 rounds separated these 2 teams.
Max charging out here, hoping to get the openers. They sprint their way through, but Stanley and Jenko will be able to hold them at bay, just tearing their way through them oh so easily, as Max is going to fall. It's all left on Imi. PT50 in hand could actually take down Stanley at the very least, but Stanley will instantly return fire.
4 players staying alive for that Method side, which means their money is starting to build now. Even if they concede the 14th round, they can buy up afterwards. Even if they concede the 15th round, they can still buy up because their money is strong. Actually, no, it's not. It's fairly awful. Actually, no, look, you got 750 on Jenko, but 2,000 Stanley, nearly 6k on Zinio, 4,000 on Weber, and 8,000 on Pulse. So before I saw Pulses, it wasn't actually that bad. So they can buy up into the next round if Endpoint win this one. 14-9, Method still have the pressure to be given towards Endpoint. It will be Imi's AWP. Where's he going with that? Goes towards A main, finds the first frag onto Stanley. A 1-man advantage after only 1 minute 37 on the clock. Back to the double AWP setup as well from the CT side. Weber just holding alone towards his A side. We might see the default stay for Endpoint. They're just going to wait. They know that eventually Method have to split up 2-2 towards these sites. They might expect that Method give up mid as well. Or they have 1 player towards Highway. They could go for a good B split here as well. That could be effective. Or they could try take control of mid, find that 1 player towards Connector or Highway, and then explode on the A site.
That's very true. Still, just playing it slow right now, though. They've done the early damage. They have the advantage into the round quite massively off the back of that opening frag. Max will get the smoke out towards the A bomb site, just keeping them busy. You can see actually quite invested. They do believe this is going to be the play towards A, when in reality it's not.
It's towards B. Only Pulse there as well to hold the line. 3 players out of the 4 towards A. They find the frag onto Max, and now surely they know it's going to be the B side.
Pulse here needs to show off that AWP in prowess, needs to be the prolific fragger behind the round. Will Strike takes down Cryptix to give them time to play with, but misses the follow-up frag. This is huge. Endpoint have time to play with now. The Molotovs are raining in, sure, setting the site ablaze. Imi actually getting caught between the fire and flames as well, but he's able to fight through it. Unfortunately, will fall just towards the end of the molly there.
It's not worth it. He gives the advantage from a 3 versus 3 into a 3 versus 2. Kits on all 3 players, but a lack of utility.
Pickles has to try and get the advantage back in their favor, but he falls. This is where the round is almost as good as done now. Jesp left in a 1 versus 3. It's going to be oh so hard for him to try and hold this back. They take the fight through, and Jenko just doing damage.
13 to 10. Bomb planted is the silver lining here for Method. For Endpoint, sorry. They can maybe buy up into the next one. You have 3,400 plus the 800, so you can go for an AK Kevlar helmet and smoke. Flashbang. This frag from Jenko was massive. If Pickles found that, put in the 2 versus 2, and the last 2 players rotating in from CT as well, you can hold that crossfire from checkers towards headshot, towards sight as well. That could spell the end for Method. Anyway though, 13 to 10. 3 rounds now separating these 2 teams. Endpoint brought it back from 12 to 4. Can Method bring it back from 13 to 5? As we go into round number 24. 5 AKs on the Endpoint side, no AWP for Imi. He's been so impactful with the AWP. And speaking about the AWP, Weber finds the first frag. Endpoint have been losing rounds when they had the advantage, and now Method have it. This is where Endpoint really have to step up.
Yeah. Weber knows how to wield the weapon very effectively, so does Pulse as well. More of your aggressive AWP, very fast and flashy on the flicks, and the push coming in towards him here, even though it's not a fabulous angle, being able to get the opening couple of frags and just fall back, buy his teammate enough time to rotate. Goes for the contact play as well, almost actually takes down Pickles there.
Does indeed. Smokes off towards B main. Actually allows the T's to cross over, but will peek towards checkers, but Max does find him.
Great timing as they push their way through. Nilzinho going to get burnt to a crisp as well, taking dinks from all over the place, Nods, as they charge their way through. He finally works out where Pickles is, but it's too late. Stanley trusts the player on the smoke, but it doesn't go his way either, and it's all on Weber, trying to do the old Imi play here as he wraps off shots through the smoke, but it doesn't quite work out. It does dissipate as well now, and he can't try and go for this. 4 men hunker down on the site. The T's are in great after plants. He can't run the risk.
Endpoint will have their round loss money reset. If he can try and get extra frags here and try and whittle down that T economy as much as possible, that's the only real damage he can have. Only real effect he can really do. As we go into round number 25. This is going to be 14 to 10 now for Method. Method, if they reset the money here on Endpoint, that could be the deal breaker. They win, they make it 14 to 11. They force Endpoint to use whatever they have left in their bank and go for a force buy. If they win versus the Pistols and maybe an AK or 2, 12 to 14. Win versus the Eco, maybe even 13 to 14. And at that point, it's anyone's game. It's anyone's game, and it comes down to that final buy round. But it's a lot of what ifs.
Yeah.
What if Method win the next round versus the force buy versus the contact plays as well? You are favoring Endpoint in this scenario. Stellar performance on Cash. Completely different affair to what we saw last week versus Infused.
So they did have the cash to reinvest into this one. They are going to go for the double AWP setup. They don't want to go on that CT side, but has to be a different round here. There is no more chances, Snods. This is it. 1 round away from Endpoint claiming match point, and it is that aggressive play towards B. Pulse is going to miss the opening shot as he struggles to connect it, but will be able to redeem himself. Finds skill towards Jess. There's the follow-up as well. Takes down Pickles. Pulse, a hat-trick comes out. Great play from the man, all on his own. Nilzinho and Stanley will find the final 2 frags as well. Method, they needed to pick up the round, and they do so.
Huge play there from Pulse. The reface after reface after reface merits him that 3rd frag. 3K to stunt the push there from Endpoint, and the fast play is matched by some fast flicks from Pulse. 14 to 11 now, the money could be low, and actually they're going to go for the save round, so they won't be forcing into this one. I anticipated a double AK buy, like 3 Tech 9s, you go for a contact play, whatever. Instead, Endpoint will be conceding this one. They're going to be ecoing just to Pistols, Kevlar only onto Cryptix, and apart from that, it's going to be Deagle, 2 Glocks, and a Tech 9, so this should be 14 to 12. 1 buy round win for Method, that could be it.
Yeah, Pulse already continuing the damage from the previous round as well as he finds that opening kill. Stanley scoped in, actually unscopes at the wrong time, and so they have encroached their way out towards the A bomb site, but it's still not going to be that much to actually talk about. The boost comes in from Weber. From the back line, he could be massive. At least deny the Fouquets that will try and fall back towards Connector. He won't let them survive into this, and it should be a fairly swift round once again going in favor of Method at this point.
Exactly that. 4 players staying alive, but obviously the money doesn't really make too much of a difference. But what money will make a difference is the fact the bomb was planted, so we could be seeing the AWP full utility buy from Endpoint into this round. 14-12 will be the scoreline. Method, only a 2-round deficit. If they win this buy round here, win versus the Eco from Endpoint, This could be 14-14. You said you thought it was going to be the 30-round game, and you may be right.
That's what I was expecting right now. Both of these teams, they've had shaky form, but they are so evenly matched in terms of firepower. This has to be the all-out warfare that we were expecting. That's what it's boiling down to, Snods.
Pulse back on the AWP. We saw Weber wielding it as well. No double AWP setup on the CT side from Method. It's going to be the single one, and the same goes for the T side. Imi wielding the AWP, and around him will be 4 AKs. Let's see what he can do here. Round number 27, 14 on the board from Endpoint. If they win one more round, they have match point, Jack. Crucial for them as Weber makes the self-boost once again. He does this all the time. It's like a Mirage where he does the short jump, he does the self-boost towards mid, and plays the off angle to try and catch the T's off guard.
Well, that's one of the things about having Weber in your arsenal is the mechanical skill that he has compared to other players. So fleshed out. He understands how to use those angles and how to use the aim mechanics to his advantage.
Exactly that. Imi holding towards A main once again. The flash comes in, but Stanley won't be peeking his way once again. It will be a slow round, a slow default. Endpoint anticipating some push, some aggression from Method. But at this point, Method have so much to play for. They can't concede a round, otherwise it will go minimum overtime. Jenko towards Heaven. He's had a stellar performance so far. If he gets 2 kills here, he should be on 30 frags. Maybe might even be on 30 kills already. And actually he is dead on 30. But is he enough to pull them over the line?
It's going to be right now where it kicks off as well. The doors will open, the smokes will roll out, and the T's are going to try and overthrow the defense, take control of the bomb site. Jenko needs to strike, gets the opening frag, puts himself on towards 31. There's the 32nd as well as he does damage him. He will fire back, but it's still nowhere near enough. There's 4 players on the side of Method alive and kicking up against the 2 on the side of Endpoint. Jess get caught off as well. They are going to be aware of his location now, so they know it's that full commit towards the site. They know both players are in close proximity. Imi will come into effect though, shuts down Pulse, tries to get the follow-up frag as well, as it is just left on the IGL of Endpoint to try and do the unthinkable here, but they're swarming towards him. Stanley takes him down. They're 1 round away from equalizing the scoreline 14-14.
Seems like Endpoint have always had this problem where they have a big advantage. Even when I was playing on the Endpoint side, we would be 12-3 up, 14-4 up, and we would find ways to lose the game. You play so restricted at the start of your T-half. You don't want to be the player that loses the rounds and makes the comeback possible for the other side. And then once it does get to, your 14-10, 14-12, suddenly you finally start taking risks. But you take risks when it's too late, and you find yourself in this scenario. From a 13-5, Jack, we see ourselves at a 14-13 scoreline. Endpoint trying the A site once again.
Trying to overthrow the A bomb site defense as per usual. They flood their way out. They actually do go 1-for-1 right now, but Stanley will retaliate as he goes big with a double kill. There's Weber chiming in from the sidelines as well, so it's just Max left, who you imagine will fall fairly swiftly. Stanley will be the one to put him down, and now they have done it. They've got themselves back to 14-14 Snods. The next round is kind of the decider at this point. You get yourself a match point, you guarantee overtime, you put yourself in a good economic standing.
Yeah, but I think the money right now on the Method side is so strong, it's about Endpoint. Yeah, it is. Look, 15,000 to Weber. He can drop everyone a gun.
Yeah.
It's all about Endpoint. If Method win this, make it 15-14, Endpoint will have no money in the bank. That means they're going to be forced onto a Tech 9 buy, 1 AK, 2 AK. Method right now have the advantage. If Endpoint win this round, make it 15-14, Method can still fall buy. The same can't be said, though, for Endpoint.
That's the thing. If Method do pick this round up, most likely it's going to be Endpoint letting it slip, as Method have been able to win out all of the ecos consistently.
They have indeed. Standing out, copying Pickles' roll towards Shroud. The off angle is so good. I mean, in these crunch time rounds, 14-14, when the pressure gets to people, sometimes they just don't check the little details. Anyway, the bomb on Imi towards A main, just holding back, hoping that someone on that CT side will go and walk into his crossfire, into his AWP scope, sorry. But instead, Stanley's boosted up towards Shroud. That could be the deal breaker here for Endpoint. We've seen them try and take this A site multiple times. It just hasn't been working for them. Will they have success towards the B side?
Jenko as well here, playing from Vent. He's going to be the one that actually spots out Imi and gets the information off the back of this if Imi goes for the play. And Jenko, normally deadly accurate in these situations, Nuts.
No map control for the T side with 45 seconds left. Smoke's coming from mid. Jenko, if he finds 1 or 2 frags here, this could be the end. Finds the frag, maybe onto Jess, pays him onto low. Isn't backing out just yet.
A characteristic of him actually gets him down low, but can't quite find the frags. They've been able to take short control. This is where the split push is at its strongest, Snods. They can force everyone out of position, but Stanley's elevated angle, it's so easy for him to find the kills, but Mighty Max and Pickles actually do fire back. They take down Weber and Stanley. They can now encroach towards the bomb site and overthrow that CT defense.
Endpoint can't throw this round. You have the man advantage, you have the site in your favor as well. 3 kits on that CT side, flashbang, smoke onto Pulse. There's still a chance here.
Juicy Jenko tries to chime in, but unfortunately goes down. There's the double kill. The collateral for Mimi as well. This is huge so far as he tears his way through. It's all on Pulse. He tries to do it on his lonesome, wanted to carry his team through, but match point has been taken. Endpoint 1 round away now from securing it, but it's still going to be so hard because there's so much money on Method.
Exactly that. Orb shots through the smoke. Kalatz now as well. 14-14 and Imi delivers it. Let's see what it's like from his POV. Shoots 1, gets the double kill. 15-14 now, Method. They need to play for OT. They will have the full buy, and actually they have a better buy than Endpoint do. Yeah. Oh, no, actually they don't, because Jesp actually does get dropped the AK, so. We are into round number 30, as you predicted, Jack, but are we going to see more than 30? Will this be overtime? And maybe it will be. Pulse finds the frag and gets the better of Imi. Jes does pick up the AWP gun. Molotov comes in towards Checker, smoke comes in front of B main, and that blocks off all information. Pulse might be anticipating a fast play towards B. Obviously, you see the IGL or per peek towards B, but no one's actually following. Instead, Endpoint are playing a nice and slow default. Bomb towards mid main, along with Pickles and Cryptics. Mighty Max once again towards door. No map control right now for the T side. What happened last time was they went for the late mid control. It's looking like they may do the same again. They're in position to go for the crisscross smokes towards mid, and maybe go for a split towards A. Flash through those smokes as well. Or you do the crisscross smokes mid, force the highway players to come mid, or one of the highway players to come mid, and then try and attack that site when there's only one player there.
Difference maker this time around though is actually have Nilzinho and Weber defending towards me with a good crossfire rather than just Jenko playing from vents. They have switched up a little bit. Jenko situated towards the A site as well. Always absolutely naughty when it comes down to spraying and praying. He will rip his way through one man, takes down Cryptics. So they have a massive favor into the round. This could be Method taking us into OT here as the remaining duo on the side of Endpoint need to try and claw it back. Pickles will go out first, try and get the entries, takes the head off Jenko as he just slowly makes his approach towards the bomb site stance. He's got 30 seconds to play with and they can recover the bomb as well. Here comes Jesp. Has his fallen IGL sword, but he gets overpowered by Pulse. He falls, and it's all on Pickles.
This would have to be an absolutely incredible round here. Charlie Pickles himself, 1 versus 3. Uses the last bit of utility he has, and from behind, Weber will make it overtime. 15-15, Pickles does fall. Momentum in that second half was definitely in favor of Method. Will they carry it through on overtime? We saw an extremely strong CT hold and CT defense from both sides. In overtime, though, you only have 3 rounds.
Yeah, you have to be consistently on the ball in those overtime rounds. And the thing is as well, Method, more so historically, all these domestic games that we've seen them play in the past, if it gets into an overtime situation, that's when Method snap out of it and actually lock the game down.
The experience is on their side, the chemistry's there. They've been a team for so long now, sub obviously, or excluding the swap from Jenko to Fry 1, but obviously Jenko was in the lineup before. When it comes to the crunch times, when the pressure's high, Nilzinho, Weber, Pulse, these are the players that deliver.
It's true. They need to be on the ball here, step themselves up, really get the fire beneath their heels once again.
This is a massive game as well. For Method, they've gone 1-1 versus XL and Epsilon. If they get the 2-0 here, that could be their gateway into the top 4. Prophecy leading the charge right now. They've obviously had the 2-0 both weeks. Same goes for Envis Academy. Those guys, Prophecy and Envis Academy, you have to be expecting to be top 4 anyway, right? The caliber of player that we've been seeing from them has been stellar. But for Method, they need the 2-0 here. They need the 2-0 this week. Try and situate themselves within the top 4.
I actually like this as well. Just go for the 1 AWP. Don't run the risk of if you lose that round, you completely screw over the economy across the whole team. Pulse has been playing phenomenally with the weapon as well.
Weber goes for the self-boost once again. Imi does spot it. Can't really do too much about it. Once again, Imi takes his AWP towards A main, and we've seen him trying to get aggressive towards B. Pulse did find that frag and win that duel. Instead, though, he's going to wait for the smoke to fade. He might even clear out the site. They can execute off of this A main position. Imi clearing out all the angles. Won't catch Stanley off guard, and he does. 1-man advantage now.
That's great. Imi actually getting the opener there will stump the defense ever so much. Jenko tries to retaliate, but he's just getting information. No real kills, and Imi shuts him down as well as a headshot as he blows him away. Huge round so far from Ian.
15-15, first round of overtime. 5 versus 3. They have the AWP in place, so they could go for the safe here. It's all down to what Jess can do towards mid main.
Very true. He needs to just try and be a nuisance in the backline. Jess just taking time on this lurk roll. Punishes Nilzinho. That is all he had to bring to the table here. Pulse as well fires off. Will eliminate Imi. But they're so paranoid. They know that Jeff's in the backline. And you can see how much they're focusing towards that. That slight seed of doubt has cost them the round almost. As Pulse has to go in on his lonesome. And the Cryptics continue the fight as well. Takes down Weber and Endpoint. Get that round on the board.
Big round to win. Your first round on that T side.
The economy on Pulse as well, because they actually lost this round, he's not going to be able to get the AK buyout, the M4 buyout into the final round of the half here.
Potentially.
Yeah.
Obviously, if they lose this next round, then yes, you're right. But if they win this round with 3 alive, he can be dropped. But look at that. 0 cash in the bank for most of the Method side. They need to have a strong win in this round. They need 4 alive, 3 alive to be able to drop over M4s to the players that do decease. But anyway, round number 2 of overtime, 16-15. Endpoint winning that first T round. We saw them struggle in regulation, but bring it through when it matters.
Weberdon in the AWP here into this round as well. You can see sort of what we touched on, the fact they are quite organic in that style. They do want to switch the AWP out depending on who's on the ball with it, who can actually get the heat behind them, and Weber going to be the one donning it for this round.
Slow defo here from Endpoint. Bomb left towards mid main. Jesp now towards B main. Flash comes in. Stanley doesn't want to get too aggressive just yet. Actually a failed flashbang then from Weber, I believe. So that will stop any aggression towards A main. You can see the idea behind that was they lose control of mid and they try to take back a portion of the map. They're trying to take back A main, but a failed flash could mean they just get swarmed.
Yeah, this also gives a lot of information to the team side as well, as they know there are 2 players there trying to go for that flash push as they were doing previously. Pickles actually gets the opener. Jenko's low as well, and he on 16 HP, so could be taken down by a HE or the Molotovs they have on that T side, as they are still just revving their engines. No full commit yet, but it will be the play towards A with a split push.
40 seconds left. 1-man advantage for Endpoint. Stanley towards his A site. Has a Molotov, so can postpone the attack for 6 seconds. Does he use it correctly? The Molotov comes into his quad. Stanley now towards site. Swarmed.
What can he actually do here? Gets taken down. Absolutely nothing. Zimmy will strike towards him. They're actually going to go for the save as well. They've got no money, so they won't be able to get the buyout if they fall here. They were left with sort of $0 across the board. They have to save it.
Exactly. Stanley there gets pinched from Highway, pinched from a main, and Squeaky left alive. You can see what happens, how as soon as Stanley died, all of those players were in such a good position to save. You had 1 person towards connector, 2 towards B, so where was Stanley's support?
This could be a bit of a nuisance as well here, Jess. He could try and run the risk, really. They can always get that.
They've got money, yeah,
out.
they're fine. Yeah, they're fine. Jess run out has nothing to lose. It's so important they take rifles out of the next round. As you put an AK and M4 into the hands of Jenko or Pulse, you know they can work magic with those rifles. Just clearing out all the angles, Jesp and Pulse. See that big run frag. With there, but will land the headshot. That's one of these rifles taken out of the final round of OT.
That's horrible as well, because Pulse had so little cash from the AWP buy. Losing the rifle in his hands, they're not going to have enough money to drop.
5-7, yeah.
Yeah.
So, what is it, 17-15 now? Final round of the first half of OT. Endpoint, strong play on their CT side regulation. Can they copy that onto the second half of OT? If they can, then we could be seeing a 1-0 in favour of Endpoint. Pickles peeks out towards mid. And Amy there from Boost will find the frag onto Jenko. Mid is exposed. CT defense is split now 2-2. Flash comes in towards Amy and they have to take control of somewhere of the map.
That's huge as well, getting the opening frag on the board. And the follow-up as well, Imi taking down Stanley. This is massive right now, just tearing his way through. He's not an AWPer, you know.
Holds towards A main, and eventually they do walk into a smoke. Cryptics anticipating some aggression there from Weber. Oh, gets close there through the smoke, but won't quite land the shot. 1 minute on the clock, the bombers towards mid main. Endpoint have a 2-man advantage thanks to the AWP of Imi. A failed Molotov as well. We'll grant them control of mid. It's going to be 1 player towards B. That's Nilzinho, has a Molotov flashbang and the M4. Weber flashed in towards A main. Imi now, can he get a third for himself?
Weber trying to play on the boost, wanted to perch himself up on the high angle, but taken down by Cryptics as it just falls into 2 men, Nilzinho and Pulse. Pulse, up close and personal, could play around that CZ, but unfortunately falls.
Once again, they're pinched in from Highway and A main. And Nilzinho just gets swarmed there towards Car. All T rounds won. First half of overtime. Match point now for Endpoint to take this 19-15.
That's what's scary as well, is Method right now, they have to get 3 rounds on the board.
Just to get second OT?
That's the thing. They need to force it into second overtime. If Endpoint get 1 round out of these remaining 3, they're going to pick this one up and they get that first map on the board. Cash, if they're able to win on Cash, that'd be a huge win for them and a great setup to what could potentially be a massive 2-0. And this is the things that we spoke about behind the scenes when we were in the green room. Me and you both said it's either going to be a 2-0 or a 2-0.
As in, yeah.
Method would either win this 2-0 or Endpoint would win this 2-0. There was no middle ground.
Exactly, especially because the next map is a Mirage as well. We saw some weak play from Method on Mirage last week versus Epsilon.
Well, it seems like Mirage right now, even though it's a map they enjoy playing, is kind of their kryptonite in situations.
It's their CT side is just so awful. That's the thing though, right?
Yeah.
CT side Cash, they definitely delivered. They forced OT from 13-5 down. On Mirage though, every single week they've played Mirage. They lost versus, what was it, sorry, Excel on CT side Nuke.
Yep.
They lost versus Epsilon on CT side Mirage. The T sides are always so strong. They need to salvage or come together and have better afterplants and retakes on that counter-terror side. But anyway, it's going to be Method on the T side. They're bread and butter usually. We saw a very weak performance from them. I believe it was only, 3 rounds on the T side in regulation. Endpoint had a very commanding CT side. Can they carry it forward? It's going to be the AWP in hands of Imi. And Pulse this time will in the AWP on that T side. It was Nozini on the T side AWPing. But this time, Pulse has that weapon in hand. Will he get aggressive, try and find an entry for his team? Currently holding towards mid-main, seeing if anyone's pushing from that CT side towards door. If you are Method right now, you have to expect Endpoint to play aggressive on the first round of second half OT. You have 3 match points to play. Yeah. They have money in the bank, so they can take risks. That's why we see them play the default.
That's the thing as well. Method, you can see they look a lot scared in these situations. It does start to hit them. This is probably one of the most emotional teams out of everyone.
Endpoint? Yeah, of course. A lot of teams are emotional. There's a lot on the line. People quit their jobs for this team. Jesp, Pickles quit their full-time job. Cryptics as well, actually, as well.
This is the thing. I mean, this...
Max dropped out of university for this team.
They've invested everything into this, so they need it to start paying off. And this would be a huge way to try and actually jumpstart that for them as well.
Crisscross smokes come towards mid. It's looking like a B split here from Method. Match point now for Endpoint. Can they hold this one?
It's going to be a question into this round. It's so critical they hold it back. Luckily enough, Imi's there. Jess, before she gets burnt to a crisp, as he can't fall back. It's sent off to the burns ward. Nilzinho strikes upon Cryptics as well. Imi tries to keep in the bay. Will fire for pot shot, but he realizes instantly. Fall back, go for the save. You can burn through your economy so quickly in MR6 here.
Exactly that. You can't be too overconfident as well. Yes, you have 3 match points. So you can take risks. You have the money and the rounds to play with. You definitely will have a second overtime. But they do play it smart. They're going to be saving. Cryptics there towards B. Had a very quiet game. I believe the first half he only had 7 kills. Pickles had 22. But I mean, 7 kills in one half when you are playing that B-bomb site, when your team wins 12-3 as well. It was all about the A site for Pickles and the retakes from Imi. And Polestar with the up will take out Pickles and Imi from the server, leaving Max just last alive.
That's quite devastating as well. Going to lose that AWP, they're going to be forced to rebuy. We might actually see some of that damage on utility coming into effect in this round, which could stunt them.
Yeah. I think Imi will need to be dropped an AWP as well into this one. Obviously, you buy the AWP, full utility, pistol, diffuse kit, costs about 8,000, so... Let's take a look at the buy. Oh, actually, you see the highlight there. Imi, they're peeking. There wasn't that much time left on the bomb. He obviously thought that the CT was going to be close and weren't holding him, but in a way, yeah. You can see the money on Imi. Does get dropped over an M4, but that means someone else's bank gets used. Someone else's credit card is...
it's been swiped.
Exactly that. So, 4 M4s right now for Endpoint. If they lose this round, we could be seeing Deja Vu, double overtime method, winning all 3 rounds on the T side, because if Endpoint loses one with the full buy, they'll only be on pistols, 1 M4, UMPs leading into round number 6 of OT. Once again, another default here from Method. They don't want to take any chances. They know exactly what happens if they concede 1 round. It will be 1-0 to Endpoint.
Oh, I mean, I thought we might have actually got caught off guard if they'd have gone for the aggressive place, and that's obviously situating themselves quite heavily towards mid. In the past, we did see him play contact on this, just towards white box, and get the early frag.
Yeah, it's always Jenko and Stanley towards boost. Imi now playing so aggressive. Will he overstay his welcome?
Running the risk here, could potentially overcommit to this, but let's see if that's going to be the case. Oh, the leg comes out on towards Weber, gets him low, but not quite a frag just yet.
Slick on, they might go towards this B site again. 2 players towards B main, 3 players in mid, standing towards highway as well. Might be able to find a frag towards A and cause a rotation. But it's down to Cryptics and Jess. Both of these players have had quite the quiet game. They need to step up now with the match point.
Now or never, and the thing is as well, it's hard for Cryptic. So many angles to focus on here, 2 different angles. He's going to be under constant paranoia that he will get pushed, and Stanley tips us into the backline. Imi's aware, but Imi couldn't quite take him down. Cryptic has to come into effect now as well. We'll get one, but there's that second angle we spoke about as Weber will strike, takes him down. Jess playing from the side, only gets 1 frag, needed to get 2 to buy his teammates actual time into this round, but unfortunately, it's not gone that way. Method looking like this could be round 17 on the board. Max finally turns up. Pulse does miss the shot. Max tries to take the aggressive play towards him, and it doesn't really go his favor. Pickles, the only one left standing. Surely you just go for the save at this point. That does actually come through. Nearly takes down Stanley. He is investing fully into this as well, but the nade will come through and blow him out the server. Frustration on Jake's face there.
Jake, he knows how detrimental that round is to their economy. Shaking his head. He knows they've let it slip twice now, from a 13-5 lead, from an 18-15 lead. Why are Endpoint constantly choking this away? First is on the T side, and now it's their CT side.
I know, mate. Absolutely horrific that it's got into this situation. You thought they would have been able to close the game out here. A flawless half on their T. It's not gone that way. Now look at the buy they're left with as well.
The thing that's weird is the fact that on regulation, the T side was so weak and OT was so strong, and now the CT side, in overtime, is fairly awful. But anyway, 4 pistols and AWP to try and salvage a 19-17 win. Method, 4 AKs and an AWP onto Pulse. Bomb towards T-Spawn once again. It's another default here. Imi trying to get aggressive with the only AWP in play.
Oh, takes the fight. You thought he would have actually found that frag. Could have been the difference maker, but him falling actually could spell double OT here for the side of Endpoint.
Cryptic's now been moved from the B-bomb side towards A. Can he hold off the push? Jess runs the first onto Nilzenia, puts us into a 4 versus 4.
Up close personal. Cryptic's here just needs to try and stay in a close angle. That's the only place his pistol's going to be effective. Unfortunately, fights out of his comfort zone, falls down as well. Pickles just hammering back on that Deagle. He's getting tags offshore, but not quite frags. They are quite low though. Stanley and Jenko left on very low HP.
Pulses the AWP on full HP. This is still such a hard round for Endpoint to try and clinch. Max needs to find the killer onto Jenko.
Max is the catalyst in the round, finds the headshot, grabs the AK as well. Max, usually so effective in these clutch situations, tears his way through. This could be it. They might actually stop it from going double OT. Endpoint could take the win right here, right now, as Max tears his way through them. Endpoint take the win. That's the first map going to Endpoint.
19-17. Somehow, some way, they clinched that one back. It looks like they almost choked it away twice. Weber there, hands in his face. He knows exactly that should have been there. I mean, 13-5 down. You bring it back to OT. 18-15, you make it 17-18. You break their money on that last round, and Mighty Max with the Deagle delivers.
Yeah, that is huge. 2 massive frags that come into the board, allows him to scavenge Nilzinio's AK, and at that point, it's just smooth sailing. Tear your way through the opposition, just shuts it down, and look how defeated everyone is on the side of Method.
Method, though, is a team that can bounce back from this. Next map being Mirage, they've got such a strong T side. How can they change their CT defense to not let this one be a 0-2 to them?
Mirage needs to be different. They can't have this happening. They need to reset themselves mentally, and they need to come in feeling strong. But we've got some strong men over on the desk. It is, of course, going to be the boys breaking this one down.
Thank you very much, Jackie. 2 good men there, just like me, on the desk here. I tell you what, Endpoint versus Method. I was expecting double overtime, so were you, but out of nowhere, Endpoint did it. We're going to take a quick break, then we'll come back. We'll chat about map 2 and how this one's going to go. It's the Elite Series, Week 3, and you are watching some of the gameplay from Endpoint versus Method. Very tense. At one point, this match was 12-2 in favor of Endpoint. In the end, it went to overtime, and an incredible performance from Mighty Max gave Endpoint the win. Well, I mean, you predicted, gentlemen, it was going to be Method that were winning this. What have we got to say about that? Are you just watching the camera? I love that, Harold, just watching it. And then gives me a cheeky wink. I don't know what's happening. Maybe the delirium of that last round. Mighty Max was fantastic there. And how did Endpoint lose from, that standing? They were 12-2 up. It went 12-3 at half-time. And then out of nowhere, they just really struggled.
Yeah, it was actually something that used to happen when I was in Endpoint. We traditionally had terrible CT sides. Yeah. But if we had a good CT side, the T side would be awful. Okay. It was a complete switch, and that happened today, obviously, and for both sides.
Is that down to the loss of focus, maybe, perhaps?
Possibly. It's like complacency, I suppose, for some people. But you can't discredit the CT side from the other team as well. Like, you can't just be saying, we played crap.
Yeah.
The other team are also in a position to, take advantage of that too.
He's dropped a C-bomb already. That is what you get with SEO, a little crap bomb. Listen, Herald, talking about Endpoint being so strong at the beginning, then out of nowhere, Method really started to perform. So in another way, it's maybe the Method were playing out of their skin compared to Endpoint just not being able to match it, or...
I think it was less of a case of one team stepping up. And of course, in the first half, I have to say there were some incredible individual performances. But going into the second half, I feel like those individuals sort of stepped down a bit. Maybe, for example, Imi had an incredible first half, like out of his mind he was playing. And we didn't see that again really until overtime. So it's understandable that a player might not be able to play at that standard for an entire game, but I feel like that's mostly what it came down to. It wasn't so much the other team coming alive. And of course, Method had to have played better in that second half, but at the end of the day, they won the game, so Endpoint, yeah, they can take a lot from that game. There's a lot to analyse, I give them that. There's a lot to break down later on.
Yeah, so they're keeping themselves busy for next week. Obviously, maybe better to stay sort of relatively loud throughout the match, but not too loud in terms of, you're getting all those kills, you don't want to go quiet out of nowhere towards the end of the run when you need to just seal the deal, really. I
mean, Endpoint's never really been one of those really loud teams, have they? And they've never had that sort of near-lem mentality of really getting into the enemy's heads. They're not so much of a loud team, whereas they stay, or try at least to stay as untilted as possible in their own minds and in their own game.
I mean, I tell you what, we thought we were going to double overtime, a first in the Elite Series on CSGO, but out of nowhere, Mighty Max turns up and basically does this, which was brilliant. I mean, let's talk through it.
Yeah, this round looked like lost completely. As soon as the AWP was gone, it was just pistols and Kevlar. And this situation, 2v3, Max gets that opening kill. For some reason, bomb point got stopped. I'm not quite sure why.
Yeah.
But it resulted in Pulse being pushed into a situation where it's kind of impossible to win with both of them facing him.
It was brilliant. It was just down to him and the AWP. But, and that cheeky little smile, there we go. He must be very happy with that. When we look at the stats, Pickles got 33 kills, 25 of which were headshots. So that's how consistently lethal he's been. Because they did break into that lead, and then what I meant earlier was they then went quiet. They were like, ugh. Oh, yeah, well, I thought that was enough, guys. I thought we got across the line.
Yeah, I suppose it's understandable. They have such an incredible first half. They put everything out. They do everything they can. And in the second half, they think, OK, we've got this massive buffer zone. Let's just take it easy. Let's not stress out. Let's try and, just play our game. But, they fall into that lull. They end up not playing their greatest Counter-Strike, and that gets into their head. And by the end of the half, they're down on all fours. So they did quite well, I would say, to come back in overtime there. If I had to guess who would win, it would have been Method quite happily in overtime. But they came back, they came alive, and somehow won that. I don't know. I'm still not quite sure how, but
well, let's see.
There's a reason he's mighty.
There is a reason why he's mighty. The proof is in the pudding, and he's definitely delivered. There's two casters over there, Jackie and Snods, two good men like me.
Of course.
What are we thinking for this one, Mirage? What's going to happen here? Can Method get that 1-0?
It's a good map for good men. There's a lot of good men like you and I, so I think it should be close, right?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, we saw Method beat Excel and Mirage, but obviously the week following that last week, Epsilon did demolish Method on their CT side. I mean, we saw Epsilon have good T sides today versus Excel, and they could, question is, will Method have another repeat of a very weak CT side? Weber towards window, sometimes he's AWPing, sometimes he's not, sometimes he force buys the M4 when he doesn't need to. Question is, will they have consistency?
It's true. That's
okay, well, gentlemen, as the light appears back on me, I'll tell you what, gentlemen, why don't you take it from here, Endpoint versus Method. And just a quick question, Jackie, is that other button going to come undone for the shirt, or are you going to keep it like that?
Going after every map.
Okay, beautiful. I can't wait to the last match. It's going to be brilliant. All right, over to you, gentlemen.
Thanks, Thomas. We will be getting underway very shortly. It should be exciting. I mean, you kind of hit the nail on the head with it, right? Inconsistency is a major factor for Method on this map. They always struggle. They always somehow get themselves into these horrible situations. We're like, right, well, they've lost this one, and then they bring it back.
Remember the game where they won versus Excel on this map? They started off 0-5 down on their T side, and then eventually managed to bring it back and then win outright from there. Method, a team where they have slow starts, and the problem is you can't allow those slow starts to happen versus the top teams here.
Yeah, it's true, and especially up against Endpoint right now. Endpoint obviously off the back of the high from that previous win. This is where they're going to be playing at their best. Everyone's fired up. Everyone was actually coming into the fold as well. Imi, amazing stuff for the work. Pickles was a huge impact fragger towards the A-bomb site, and you need those players to be stepping up massively. You need them to come into the effect. If they play like they did in the previous match over here on Mirage, this is where it's going to be very, very hard for Method to actually get into their stride.
You're right. For Method, if they lost 0-2 here, that would be detrimental to them. Their standing. I believe they've got, 2 points so far. They can't get 3 points from this, so they can't get to 5 points. If they go 1-1 and win Mirage versus Endpoint here, they'll be at 3 points. The problem is, you've got your Envious Academies at 6, Prophecy at 6. Eventually, they will be taken over.
How much this is actually going to hurt the standings for Method is huge as well. Even if it just goes 1-1, they keep them in a very awkward spot. So Method right now, even if they do get that 1-1, it's not going to matter. But for Endpoint, this could actually set themselves up to project themselves quite high off the back of this if they take a 2-0.
If they win the second map, they'll have more points than Method will.
Yeah, that's what's crazy.
Anyway, though, into the pistol second map. Let's take a look. Jesp there, the CZ flashbang, Kit, smoke grenade onto Imi, and 3 sets of Kevlar on that CT side. Pulse there, drop the 10-9, that's a smoke grenade as well. Imi there supposed to play, so he gets dinked up as they rush up short.
Yeah, they're going to be fighting their way through. They get the early tag towards him, but he got a whole lot of information from the back of that. But look at Stanley, hot on his tail snods as he charges his way through into the back line, does punish Imi. This is a little bit awkward.
Slow around now from Method. Jess pushes towards A-Ramp, could come in for the flank. Cryptics needs to land a frag here minimum.
Cryptics trying to play up close and personal here. They're going to check the angle. They will try and take the fight towards him. He gets them low, but can't quite punish them, so Pulse will overpower him. Max has to fall back to eliminate Stanley to allow his teammates to actually rotate over, but Jenko comes into effect as well during the meantime. Jess, he's been on a mile-long hike for about 4 days at this point. He finally gets into the back line, hoping that he can do some damage here. We'll find one kill towards Pulse, but he's given the game away as well. They know his position. They're focusing towards him. Early tags coming out towards Weber. If he got the kill there, that would have been huge. It does give Pickles actually a chance into the round, as he should be aware of his location. Pickles will snipe him down. So 2 versus 2 here, which could go any way, especially when Jess starts to do things like that. Oh, Pickles finds the frag as well. A round that looked like it should have been all the way in Method's favor is going to go the way of Endpoint.
I don't think I've ever heard Imi shout before.
No.
And there he is behind me saying, let's go. Momentum is in their side. Weber again. Hands over his face.
He's got some itchy eyes, mate. He's got some sleep in his eyes. It's furious.
Oh, yeah. Still, though, Charlie Pickles on screen, chirpy as ever. Big frags found for him. He gets that nice headshot there onto Weber. And then this frag here from Jess was crucial. Nzionio dying towards Car. Pickles gets that final frag as well. With the kit smoke diffuse, they do take that one. Momentum is carried forward into the second map. Stanley's AFK. Has a Glock, though. The bomb was planted. It's going to be the full eco from the T side. There should be 2-0 for Endpoint. Have the SMGs on 3 players. Try and stack up as much cash as possible.
Jesp as well. Going to be turning himself into a bit of a meat grinder here as he gets the opening frags. Imi also comes into effect, and it's all with SMGs right now. This is great. As much cash as they can build up possibly out this round is what they're going to be trying to aim to achieve.
Exactly that. They need to have 5 players stay alive, 4 players stay alive. Ultimately, you'd want your MP9 player Jesp to die, and then he can be dropped a FAMAS, a UMP. Imi can buy up on ult potentially if he does get a few kills here. And then he could be saying a goodbye leading into round number 3. But anyway, 3 players alive on the T side and 5 alive for the CT side. 1-0, 1 minute left on the clock. And all 3 of those T players towards mid. Deagle and Stanley, he's the only real chance they have into this round.
Yep, go for their boost as well, get themselves back up into these elevated angles as they make their way back through. Imi Holden here as well. If they try and push through, Weber will be caught off guard, so they can't really play this efficiently. They're just going to hit their way through connector. Hope for the best at this point, as there's not too much they can really throw into this round. No utility, so it just has to be an all-out shock and all play.
Exactly that. Imi close range with the UMP now.
Does get one opening frag, but Stanley retaliates actually, but Mighty Max just bobbing and weaving as he takes the fight. We'll be able to take down Stanley. It's all on Weber here. Grabs the bomb to at least give himself a chance if he can do something, but unfortunately won't even get another frag. That's Jess won the kill with the MP9 as well, so that's the worst case situation for them, really.
Exactly that. So, leading into round number 3, the buy should come out from Method. We should be seeing a 5 AK setup here. On the CT side, Imi thinking about the AWP, and actually will be dropped over from Jesp, so just as I predicted, MP9 player dies, he gets dropped Imi's gun, and Jesp can drop over the AWP back to Imi.
Because the cash was so low as well, they've had to go for 2 Galils, so at least they have some kind of manageable amount of utility.
Exactly that. They bought PT50s and Deagles, which means they are lacking flashbangs and smokes and Molotovs into this round. Endpoint getting aggressive towards A-Ramp here. They're trying to take a portion of the map. And if they do, they could rotate someone over towards B, and it looks like where Method are heading.
Pulse forced to fall back here early. He's going to go for a smoke to actually try and support his team. I think that's the mid-window smoke. Didn't quite see.
I didn't see either, but anyway, if it is, that could be late control here from Method, or not really too late, and it is 1 minute 20 on the clock. Smoke comes in towards window, standing towards underpass now. He's a flashbang towards connect if he wants to peek it. Flashbang comes in. Imi is rotating his AWP as well. Will he go ticket booth? Will he go jungle? It's looking like he is going for the latter. Towards jungle now, peeking in towards connector is Imi. Smoke comes into the top of connector. That's usually a sign that they're going to go for a B split. The bomb as well. Stanley towards connector. Molotov's off towards CPL. Jenko and Nilzuni need to go in towards short and try and find the frag here onto Mighty Max.
I think Max only got the Famous as well, Snon, so it's not the best weapon for these sort of situations. 25 bullets of pain, though. Can Max keep him at bay?
Jess has all the information he needs. We should be seeing a rotate here from Imi. Instead, though, the late rotation could spell the end.
Oh, Cryptics goes down early as well, so they have the man advantage into this round of the battle of attrition, but what more can they do? Maxwell Strike finds the first kill, but doesn't quite realize Jenko was there to support him, so they will be able to gain control of the bomb site and hunker it down.
Extremely late rotate here from Imi on the AWP. Had a stellar performance in the last map. He was vital to Endpoint eventually winning 19-17, so should be saving this one. Jasp has the UMP, really the worst gun to lose. Trying to play for exits and try and take away any guns and rifles he can out of Method's hands.
Yeah, just need to back off and stay alive at this point. They shouldn't throw these weapons into the wind carelessly. Just hold on to them and hope for the best into the next one. This is good for Method, denying Endpoint from actually getting those 3 rounds off the back of the pistol win.
Exactly, right? If they won this first buy round, that could have been momentum soaring in their favor. You see you have 2 players there surviving with their guns. They can drop over rifles if they want to go for the buy here. Money on the Method side is fairly decent as well. Nilzini will needed to be dropped. And obviously everyone else will have to rebuy utility, so that costs about 1,000. Let's see what the buy's like afterwards, but 2 players staying alive. Sorry?
Digging for gold there.
Yeah, there you go, mate. Oh, yeah. Anyway, 2-1. Method finally get around to the board. 4 AKs and a Galil onto Nilzini. So he's always the one that takes the hit. He is the IGL captain. Yeah. He will drop over AKs and go for a Tech 9. He'll drop over AKs and go for the Galil just to have utility into these rounds. Strong utility, though, across the board on the T side. For Endpoint, though, AWP again on Imi. 2 M4s dropped over and an SMG onto Mighty Max. So, a strong buy here from Team Endpoint. Method might not be anticipating the 4 rifle buy here. Mid control now from Method. Smoke towards window from T-Spawn. No aggression just yet. Imi and Jesp, the double connector play. This is actually very prevalent right now in the meta. Jesp holding towards underpass and then Imi holding towards short and right side connector. But as that smoke comes in, they will eventually fall back and play this one a little bit safer.
They are taking the fight towards mid, obviously. They've been able to get mid control very, very easy into these previous rounds. Will this be different, though, as well? As they actually tiptoe their way through.
It's looking like a repeat of the previous round, standing towards connector. 2 players towards B short and 2 players towards B apps. Mighty Max and Cryptics to hold down this B side.
Thing is, Max actually playing up close to personal this time around as well, the UMP rather than the Famous from distance. So he doesn't even have the angle advantage, really. Does have to fall back early. Flashbang goes over to at least delay them as he's getting an awful lot of audio information from the close angle he has. Looks like this will be the push, though, as they start to flood their way through. Cryptics comes in first. Will take down 1, but Jenko instantly moves on to take down Max. Such a swift frag comes out, and it's just Imi and Pickles left alive once again. He does find 1 kill with the AWP, but I'm not surprised that they actually might call it here unless they can find another kill very quickly, Snuds.
3 versus 2. They have kits, but no smoke grenades, just flashbangs and no molotovs as well. They know players towards Van, but they can't molly out. They can't smoke off towards the bomb. And with that, they will go for the save once again. Method winning 2 on the trot now. 2 buy rounds won after conceding the pistol. It's a massive frag to take. AWP should be salvaged here by Pickles, but they know exactly where the AWP is.
Pickles able to do some damage, takes down Jenko at least, but unfortunately Stanley spots him out. He got a bit over-aggressive trying to hold on to that weapon. They won't actually have that AWP with them.
So, 2-2. No AWP saved. Method going for the same buy, or the same style, sorry. They wait, they hold for any aggression. They go for the late mid control we saw XL do earlier. And from there, they'll either go for the B split if they're not met with any contacts. If Stanley or Jenko can find frags towards connector, they generally go back towards A. But so far, this late mid split towards the B site has been paying dividends for them as we head into round number 5.
This could be awkward as well. Pulse in position, will find 1 frag on towards Imi, but actually gets taken down by Jesp in the end. The amount of firepower they had just overwhelmed that rifle in their hands. They have grabbed that AK to play with. Cryptics on the site towards B, though, would have to try and get a couple of frags on the board to buy them time if they wanted to do anything here. Essentially, now you just suicide squad Max and Pickles, and Jash just holds onto the AK.
Yeah, exactly that. Try and find 1 more kill as well. 2 frags on your ecos is pretty sublime. You take out $8,000 worth of investment for investing about 1,000 across the board. And especially if Jesp can salvage this AK, that's $3,100 saved. And if they can get one more kill, $8,000 taken away from Method's bank.
Method need to try and get as many rounds as possible as they can here on their T side as well,
Exactly.
because this is their preferred half. This is where they actually can play to the best of their ability. That CT half are where the cracks always show.
It is indeed. Still though, it's looking like it will be 3-2 as the bomb is going off. Now, Jesp right now towards Firebox. He's going to try and salvage the AK, but gives away his position.
Jasper trying to fire down. Will tag one man in Weber. Actually does tag him for a little bit, but that is going to be all he gets out of the round here.
So, round number 6. Let's see what the buy's going to be like on the Endpoint side. They have no AWP. 5,000 is the most money they have in the bank. Imi could go for the glass cannon AWP, but it's looking like, yeah, he will be going for that one. Has a smoke grenade as well. 4 M4s, AWP in his arsenal. UMP saved over from Weber. 4 AKs from Method. No AWP to play with. This could be a setup towards B. You've got Weber. He's that luck player. On Cobblestone, he's the one that goes towards B plat alone. On Mirage as well, he's this solo player towards that B side, but now he has the band of Merry Men.
Charging their way through, Weber gets the opening frag as he unleashes some damage. Max tried to retaliate. You can see the spray control and effective, and unfortunately he does only get one frag off the back of that. Nilzinho waiting for the right moment to decide when to go for the bomb plant as well.
So hard to go for the retake with the un-Kevlar'd AWP. Glass cannon AWP is the worst gun to try and retake, especially a site like B.
Yeah, that nade also knocking him down to 2 HP, literally hitting him on the noggin. That is very, very awkward. So they are forced to save. This is the 3rd save we're seeing come out for Endpoint. This is the only chance they have to actually keep something in their arsenal.
It's been 4 rounds on the trot towards this B bomb site. On Cash, we saw Imi make the call to swap Cryptics and Jess towards A and bring Max and Pickles towards the B bomb site, the players that are performing. Right now, Cryptics and Max towards that B bomb site are conceding it 4 rounds in a row. We may be seeing the same swap happen.
It's very true, because right now it does just look a little bit off. Can't quite find those kills, unfortunately. And there's Method finally getting that round locked in as they work their way through.
Thing is as well, they have the $3,400 loss bonus after losing 4 rounds on the trot, so they can drop over guns and buy up again. The problem is, it's not about the fact they can keep buying, it's the fact they keep losing these buy rounds. They win the pistol, they have 2 rounds from that, and since then, Method have had 4 in a row as we head into round number, I was about to say number 17. Round number 7. It's actually Method that only got 17 rounds in the last map, and Endpoint winning on 19.
It's very true, mate. Nice little fat there.
I saved myself there, didn't I?
That was good. You recovered.
Cheers, mate. It's all about the experience.
Method, though, into this one, playing it slow. The old split and pick coming into effect. Imi actually does go for the phase from Connector. Doesn't quite spot anyone out.
He doesn't indeed. So, Method, change of plan here. And actually, Pickles and, Max is rotated towards window, and now it's Pickles with the M4 towards that B side. So they are changing their CT defense.
This is good as well from him. Gets the opening frag. If he would have got the follow-up, that would have been huge, but he doesn't need to when you've got Jesp on your side. Rips his way through the Swedish superstar. Starts to get some energy behind him as he goes on. That's a hat-trick for Jesp. He's going to be absolutely loving life after this round. Stanley rattling off as many bullets as he can, but he is forced to fall back. 14 HP on him. Dazed and confused as well, and trapped in an awkward angle.
Molotov, flash, HE grenade, 14 HP. Money is low on that Endpoint side as well. They have bought into this one with all the money they have. Reset the round loss bonus as well. So following this round, as we go into round number 8, this could be the reset. Method, they've tried the A site. They got absolutely demolished. Jesp there, holding the line, gets 2 frags out of the player's 16 pallets, and then swings it around and gets the player towards Tetris as well. Are they going to go back towards B? Endpoint, their money should be fairly low as well. There's a nice double spray down from Jesp. This 3rd frag as well. Antonio Zeno secured the deal. Round number 8, 5 AKs once again, and the bomb is going towards B apps. 2 players towards B, 2 players towards mid. We saw the late mid control come out from Method, and then the slow B split following that. It's looking like we might be seeing the
Smoke's coming through here early, just keep Weber at bay. He does give the position away here as well. Imi goes for the contact play up mid. Actually would have got a massive opening kill into the round. But nevertheless, he does get information and actually gets away with his life.
What's important following this round as well, yes, he didn't find the kill into this one, but that's going to make Method a whole lot more scared when they are holding towards mid now. Now that Imi has shown presence towards mid and shows that he actually has the balls to push it with the AWP, that should mean slower mid controls from Method.
Repositions himself as well, gets away with the kill and his life once again. That's absolutely horrific for Method there. They needed to try and at least get that trade out and capitalize on the fact he is going for those aggressive kills.
So, Imi there, finds the first frag, rotates back towards window. He's getting rather close. If he jumps up on the bench, might be taken down. Overexpose himself, maybe? Flashbang comes in, doesn't spot any players though, chucks the molly, and now Weber knows exactly where he is. Tries to go for the JW boost, but Imi expects it.
Ridiculous. He's getting away with these frags all over the place. And he will actually be able to stay alive once more as well. They can't trade back into that. Stanley's going to be terrified as he has just lost his brother in arms towards mid there, as they now slowly make their play towards this A site.
They do indeed. 5 versus 3. 2 entry frags for Imi, but now it's Pickles.
Pickles, this is his absolute primetime angle, right? This is where Pickles is thriving in a world of his own. You hunker him down, you leave him in an angle like that,
Turret.
underneath dark. Yeah, he can just rip his way through like a sentry gun, and that's what he does.
Exactly that. They may not have Peggy, but they've got Peggy in spirit within Pickles. Obviously, filling that same turret role. Stanley now, once again, last alive, 5 seconds. He shouldn't die after time. That would be detrimental to his money. And instead, 4-4 will be the scoreline, as we have ourselves another evenly matched game on Mirage. Interested to see what the buy is leading into round number 10. Weber there, we saw the frustration he had after the last map, and after they threw the pistol as well.
Yeah.
It's going to be the tactical timeout from Method. Maybe their money's a lot lower than I thought. They've lost 2 on the trot. They might be considering, do we go for the force buy? They haven't had the bomb down as well, remember, Jack. Jess prevented it, and in the last round, Imi prevented it. So now, with the lack of money, they might go for the save here, discuss what they want to do onto the buy round, but concede this round, allow Endpoint to get to 5-4, and then try and get that 5-5 scoreline. It is their T side, so it's crucial that they get 9 to 8 rounds as a bare minimum.
I'm actually glad they have gone for the tactical pause as well.
Smart,
here,
yeah.
Because we haven't really seen enough teams utilising them throughout this. We saw Endpoint obviously coming in with theirs very late into the game.
Excel used theirs fairly well, but obviously they have their coach Ross.
Yeah.
Endpoint were using theirs later on the cash map. For Method, they're using it now. So it is going to be round number 9 now. And that's the thing, right? Imi expects the boost. The JW boost is what we like to call it, because you can peek up there and spot all the way down jungle. So if you have a rifle they're holding for the window boost, they're holding towards connector, you can catch him off guard. But anyway, 4-4, and it won't be the eco from Method. Instead, they're going to buy up into this one. Or onto Jenko's hands. When Jenko uses this weapon, he's usually so aggressive with it. Has the mid spawn as well to challenge Imi. But Imi's going towards the A site.
Switching it up a little bit, this is actually going to throw a spanner in the works as well, as even though he had the best spawn for it, and he's got the confidence behind the weapon, there's no one there, you can't do too much.
Can't indeed. Pickles towards balcony, so holding off Palace. It's going to be Jesp now, the man towards connector. It's going to be once again Max and Cryptics towards that B site. Method, they had 4 rounds of success towards B. Every single time they've gone towards A or gone towards mid, they've been shut down. Smoke comes in towards connector, Jesp. Toe-to-toe with Stanley.
Smart as well, you can see the way he's trying to play around it, and Jess can be absolutely juicy with the weapons. This is actually crouched down as well, trying to play anti-flash around it. If Stanley walks through, Jess could get the drop on him right now. Looks like they are getting ready to embrace those. He falls back a little bit. Gonna re-smoke, doesn't want to run the risk of anything. Going to actually pushes in. Nice, fall back.
Oh no, he's gone back. It's all good. It's all good. Don't let off the sirens just yet. 5 versus 5, 50 seconds on the clock. Bomb. And Orp boosted towards B short. Trying to see if you can find the frag onto Max or Cryptics towards B-Apps or towards bench. Max gets spotted and might actually fall back into Jenko's Orp.
Max here focusing towards short. Scoped in. Does actually have Overwatch in the angle, but misses. That would have been a great frag if he would have connected it, but unfortunately misses the follow-up as well. The sloppy seconds come out. He can't quite punish them just yet, and this is where they're going to try and abuse him. Hit them from all angles. They flood their way through. Cryptics and Pickles actually doing damage. Cryptics needs to aid his teammate as well here as Max can't efficiently hold it with that weapon, but Pulse will dispatch him and then drop it to the side. Pulse spots him out as well, but not before Jess can take down one man, leaving it all in the hands of Weber. This round on Weber's massive shoulders. It would be such a hard round to try and pull out. Needs to be swift here, but needs to try and get onto the site as well. Has 5 seconds to remain. If he has to plant right now, he can't actually plant. Imi doesn't have any reason to face. An Endpoint, they get the round.
Imi as well, hoping that Weber walks into a scope after time, but instead, it will be another round 1 there for Endpoint, 5-4. Method, they went for the buy round. You can see the frustration there in Weber.
Using the force.
Exactly that. So he did survive, so he's going to bring the AK into the next round. But obviously, as the bomb did not go down, he did not get any round loss bonus. So he's going to stay at 2,000 as we head into round number 10. It's going to be AK, Kevlar, and a quasi-buy surrounding him. Stanley, Pulse, Nilzinho, all with Kevlar. Jenko just to seize it. That might be a sign that he's going to be saving for the AWP. 5 players now towards the speed bomb site. Cryptics has to hold it once again.
That's a naughty early nade there coming out as well. And this position from Max is normally so powerful because you can just hunker yourself down below window. But it's actually playing it from a off side, so he will be overpowered by Pulse there. And they've actually got a huge advantage in this round.
Once again, weakness exposed from Method towards the speed bomb site. 5 versus 3. Low HP on 2 players. They have kits on the CT side, smokes and molotovs, so it is still winnable.
Yeah, making his presence known. Trying to play the mind games with him a little bit, as it seems that they have made the call to save. They don't want to run this risk.
Save number 5 after 11 rounds. Oh, sorry, so we're going to round number 11, but half of the rounds, they've saved them.
Yep.
Every single time Method have the bomb planted on B, they just go back towards A and they save of what they have left. They count their losses and throw in the towel. 5-5 will be the scoreline. When will Endpoint change up their CT defense towards the B side? It's a contact play, right? Weber just walking in apps, finds the headshot onto Cryptics, take the AWP towards B. Go for a double AWP setup maybe if you save into this one. Imi on 9,000, so can drop an AWP over to Mighty Max, but we saw the whiffs that came from that in the previous round.
That's the thing, the way Max is actually playing it as well towards short, obviously trying to watch that short angle and then rotate back, the timing wasn't in his favor.
Yep.
But normally if you just play under window, it's so easy to get those opening frags on the board because they all jump out. They're in such an awkward spot as they leap out of window like that. You expected more from Max.
The problem is he peeked, whiffed, and then allowed them to swarm him from left, right, from the window as well. He couldn't really move. And eventually they did overpower him. Anyway though, into the present, round number 11. 5-5 is the scoreline. We're equally matched, but then again, Endpoint won the pistol and the following eco round after that one. Method have won 5 buy rounds to make it 5-5. Pulse smokes off towards window. Bomb is towards mid. So we're seeing 2 players towards A and 2 players towards mid. And Jenko takes the head off of Imi. That's a big player to take down.
Absolutely critical into the round. Max actually gives the game away a little bit though as he stomps, leaping off that elevated angle. They will know where he is, but he still strikes, takes down Jenko, and is allowed to fall back. Maybe Stanley didn't actually hear him there.
Staying aggressive towards B short. Might even peek towards connector and halt the push coming from A.
Molotovs all around him, tries to play around the smoke. If he actually goes through this, could get the backstab off into Nilzinho. Neil does seem aware of it. Max trying to play with the timing. Gets in. Trigger patience is key as well, actually, as he's right behind them from steps. He's hearing everything going on. He can feed all of this information to his teammates. Take down Stanley, who's playing from jungle, and then try and execute on towards Sandwich as well. Nilzinho has found a kill. Actually, Weber, has been able to collect that as they now make their play through to the site.
Bomb is towards default. They smoke off towards CT, but that might be a bad smoke. Jess now exploiting it. Jumps up. Spots Pulse, sprays him down, but doesn't quite get the frag.
Look how low they're getting though. Nilzinho's the only one full HP at this point.
They failed the CT smoke. There's a massive gap in it. They can't plant just yet. And if they do, there's a chance that Jess might face, and he does. And Pulse will one-tap him through the smoke. It's going to be a 3 versus 2. Low HP on 2 players on his T side. Kits though, but no utility.
Neil forced that position because the Molotov, but it's actually going to take down Cryptics on his run straight through the fire. It's Pulse and Weber left the dynamic duo. They've got so much damage between them. They're an absolute powerhouse. Max will get the first one. Can he get the second? Weber, no reason to peek. Max's hand is forced, but he finds it. And he should be able to get the defuse as well. He's got the kit and all the time in the world.
Why did that player towards ramp face? Why is he peek? Just play off contact. As soon as Max shoots towards Weber, face and get the trade frag.
It wasn't even like a 3-2-1 peek because
Exactly.
Pulse just peeked on his own.
It was Pulse, sorry, yeah, but why is Pulse peeked there? Just wait for Weber to have contact and wide swing while Max is occupied with Weber, and it's a free kill for yourself and a free round that's just been thrown away by Method. 6-5 will be the scoreline now. Things are getting close.
Oh yeah, things are heating up in the studios.
Look at this though, why is Pulse face? Strange, right? I mean, we saw so many rounds thrown from Method on their CT side.
Yeah.
On the last map on Cash, we saw how frustrated and angry Weber was getting, but this only fuels to the fire. Tactical timeout here from Endpoint. Obviously, having one player staying alive means they know that the money could be low on Method's side, but the money could be low on their side as well. If they lose this round, get reset, that could be the way that Method get back into this one. But the fact is, they've already got 6 rounds on their CT side. That's more than enough.
Especially against Method. That's
what I
sort
mean.
of the key factor. When you look at it, from terms of the benchmarks we have with Method, we could show you oodles of results where we can go, Method will consistently have good T-halves and then have absolutely abysmal CT sides on Mirage.
Exactly that. So, 6,000 to Max, 1,400 to Imi, but everyone else is basically as good as broke on their Endpoint side. This is a massive round for Method to win. If they reset the money here, that could be their way of getting 9 rounds on the board. Imi getting aggressive once again towards A ramp.
Imi gets the opening play off the back of a contact peek as well, takes down Stanley. They're going to try and flood their way through, but Imi gets the second frag as well, the headshot towards Pulse, but gets a little bit confused about where that next player is coming from. Sojenko gets a chance to strike, but there's Pickles, the sentry gun himself, hunkered down and ready to strike. Unfortunately, he's going to malfunction as he gets punished by Nilzinho now, but there's still only 2 players alive on that side.
There is indeed. Weber, 11 HP, got dinked up previously, has a flashbang. Nilzinho with 2 flashbangs, but 50 HP as well. Max coming in now from T-Spawn, that should be it.
Max has just got a hold, that's all he's got to do, but Max overextends a little bit. The angle isn't going to favour him, Snods.
They throw away the advantage. They put us into a 2 versus 2. Method could slow this one right down. They have a minute on the clock. They could go back towards mid, try and play the trade game. Weber going first towards mid. Actually, they're going to split up in this scenario.
And this could be their downfall. Nilzinho on his lonesome needs to clear his angles, and Jess, man, you do not want to go up against.
You don't indeed. Weber now, 11 HP. Left, Nilzinho all on his lonesome, just as posted to him in that 1 versus 2. 40 seconds left. He has to try to salvage the bomb as well.
2 smokes going to go down here. So much confusion. Terrified probably that someone is playing close in the smoke. He's got a third. Maybe there'll be 3 smokes.
Exactly that. Thing is though, right? You can see the bomb tick through the smoke. You see like the little red light through the smoke. So the fact that Weber is 11 HP, as soon as they see that light go, they know that someone's picked up the bomb, and all they have to do is spray the smoke, and 1 bullet will take down Weber. And actually, he makes the smart call. He's going to go for the save, and actually, I quite like that play. Even though they've lost a round, he's made the best of a bad situation.
Yeah, smart. Swing out of there, become a bit of a vulture, mate. Grab some weapons that can age into the following round. So you obviously get the AWP out, give that back to Jenko, and give them something to play with. Actually could try and go for the strike. No reason to really risk it, though. Don't push your luck.
So, the round 1 there for Endpoint. That could be Method forced onto an eco. Imi there with the double entry. He finds the first frag onto Stanley, falls back, Pulse just wide swings into his crosshair. I thought for a second Max could have thrown it, but once again, aggression from Jesp does surmount round number 7. It's going to be the quasi-buy here. Weber saves the AWP, obviously, and apart from that, it's going to be Pistols and Kevlar only on 2 of these T players. This should be round number 8 here for Endpoint, winning the half versus the T side of Method on Mirage.
Actually shaping up to be a 10-5 as well right now. Imi tries to go for the pixel peek, but he unfortunately can't quite pull it off. They will swing wide, and it messes up for him, so he's forced to fall back.
He does indeed. Weber's AWP, though, towards Delpan. Scoped in towards Mighty Max, hopes that someone will face into his AWP and give his team the 1-man advantage. As long as Endpoint play this one nice and slow and exploit the fact that Method have no utility and no firepower to back it up, this should be round number 8.
Molotov comes in, Pulse, so close from actually getting out of the flames there. He thought he'd been caught off in that Inferno. Weber actually finds the shot on towards Max. Was that from Delpan?
It was indeed. I think he threaded the needle there.
Yeah.
And got his team the 1-man lead. 1 minute left on the clock. 4 versus 5. Nilzinho salvages the M4 from the Mighty Max himself. Goes towards CP. Going to peek towards jungle, see if he spots anyone. But instead, the CTs have split up towards 2 towards B and 2 towards the A side. We won't be seeing aggression here to Connector.
Jasper, a good man on the site, hoping to try and hold off this push that's coming through, but Method actually try and play around it, but they actually do find the kills. Jess comes in with the opener. There's Pickles as well. Everyone's having a piece of the action. Jess, with his second frag of the round, is able to pick them off fairly swiftly. It's all on Nilzinho. He's caught in the open. He's actually clearing the angles efficiently, but you can't beat the Pickle Man.
You can't indeed. 8-5 will be the scoreline now. Endpoint, after winning the pistol, have won the half. As a bare minimum, they will have 8 rounds to play with on their T side, and that is paramount to the game style that Method bring on Mirage. Usually, they get around 5 rounds on the CT side, 6 rounds on the CT side, and then they have these massive double-digit T sides to push them over the edge and get that 16th round. Anyway, though, it's going to be the buy coming out from Method. No AWP in there. Arsenal, 5 AKs to boot. Decent utility as well, but on the Endpoint side, it's going to be the AWP back in the hands of Imi. AKs picked up there for Cryptics, and 3 M4s to fill out the rest of the spy. 4 players towards B, standing towards mid. We saw so much success. The only success they've had is towards speed bomb site. Can Max and Cryptics finally hold it?
Play though will shut down Stanley. They do get the early advantage at least. This is a bit of a better setup this time around from Endpoint as well towards B. The Molotov goes down. They can't jump through the window instantly. Cryptics does get 1 kill. Max stayed alive long enough to actually come into effect as well. Just going for the pre-fire, keeping him at base. Imi can strike in as the Overwatch team. Everyone is falling. It's just left on Weber. Leaps up into the elevated angle. The Molotov will go down, but Max just extinguishes it. And Weber, he's going to be so frustrated in this position. It's not so many angles to clear. Will clear 1 though. Peeks out. Lops the head off Imi. Makes the situation slightly more manageable. Surely this is too far gone. Look at the bomb drop.
Exactly that. Amy has an up as well. He can scope towards the bomb. Jess is peeked out. Smoke does fade. Max does fall as well. Weber now 5 HP in the 1 vs 2.
Weber still consistently finding frags, but he's just too low now. It's going to be so awkward. They have to get the drop on them and get some very sexy kills to actually pull this back as he finds the headshot towards Jess. It's ridiculous that somehow Weber is making this manageable. He is the clutch man, rolling back the years, always so incredible in these situations. But Pickles will strike, takes him down with a wall bang. Close, but no cigar.
9-5 now, as they're 1 away from double digits on their CT side. Mirage. Completely different affair to what we saw last week when they played versus Infused. They got 5 CT rounds, they got demolished and ran over.
Yeah.
But this week they come back much, much stronger. Pickles, Imi delivering. And finally, we're seeing some success from the Endpoint side. 9-5 will be the scoreline. The money is so weak on that T side as well. Method, CZ onto Nilzinho, 2 Tech 9s on Stanley and Pulse, 2 AKs onto Jenko and Weber. And a distinct lack of utility on 2 players. So the longer this round goes on for Jack, the lower chance Method have to take it.
It's true. They're burning their way through their reserves here. They needed to try and get as many rounds as possible on their T half, but it just hasn't gone in their favor, really. I assume this was going to boil down to a 10-5, and it looks like that is going to be the case now.
It's so weird as well. Whenever we cast Method on the T-side Mirage, they always have Weber boosted into window. Haven't seen that once so far. Instead, they've been playing the contact play, and it's been working for Endpoint. Jenko finds that frag onto Max. 5 vs 4, 1 minute 10 on the clock. And Bomber's going back towards A. This could be the A split. You have Stanley there towards Connector, but Jesp is pushing towards T-Spawn.
Jesp always goes for these aggressive plays. Actually does get 1 frag. Weber should have taken him down there, so at least they go 1 for 1. Making their approach back towards B as well in the late round. I thought they were going to go for a little bit of a aggro lurk, but they do fully commit towards this A strike. CT's not in good position, Snods.
Cryptics and Imi on the rotate. Pickles to hold down CT. Nilzinho plants for mid, plants for Connector, and now the T's can get situated into really good afterflank positions. It's so hard for Endpoint to win it now.
Imi does actually come into effect though, takes 1 down. It's going to be Nilzinho that falls off the back of the wall bang with Emi's ult.
They have no smoke, they can't go for the smoke to fuse. They'd love that versus the Tech 9s. Instead they have to peek and force the T's to draw themselves out here.
Stanley tries to make the play through. Imi watching it with the ult, but misses. That's such a critical shot. He needs to connect, but he eventually gets the headshot. But they're just fighting their way through. They did have the kits. They could have tried to commit to it, but they didn't. They had to try and take the fight, hoping they could at least get the frags, give themselves a manageable situation. They lose that one out. Unfortunately, they don't get 10-5. It is going to be 9-6, but nevertheless, that is a very good half for Endpoint up against what we normally see coming out from Method.
It should be a big enough buffer onto their T side. Obviously, a staple of the UK scene is weak CT sides and strong terrorist sides.
Yep.
A sign of strong T sides is aim, contact plays. Yes, you have teamwork, but the teamwork a lot of the time is predetermined and prepared, right? Executes, you practice those. You can't really practice your CT setups that much. That's when it comes down to free throw, team communication. And the UK teams currently just don't have it versus the international competition, but luckily for Endpoint, this isn't international competition. This is domestic Counter-Strike, UK versus UK. Method, the kings of the UK CS scene, currently back against the ropes as they're already a map down.
It's true. It's not been their best showing today. They have been struggling. And this is so important as well. This pistol rounds, normally, Method look pretty good. They've got a lot of very talented pistol players, but can they hold off Endpoint?
It's a big question. Here comes the fast play towards A ramp. Just Nilzinho towards A.
Just a 1-man stack as well. The cards have unfortunately been read entirely wrong, but it doesn't matter as Jenko will pop his head in, say peekaboo, and take down 1 man. Pickles falls, Imi goes down as well. It's getting worse by the second here for the side of Endpoint as they are losing manpower all over the shop.
Bomb is planted. If they take control of Connector here, the T side has a chance.
Try and fire back, but they're still going 1 for 1. They're trading efficiently on the side of Method, so all of a sudden, Max and Jess start to do a little bit more damage than usual, but Max overpowered by Weber there. The defuse will come in. They get such a critical pistol round. They can almost equalize the scoreline off the back of this if they play their cards right.
Exactly that. If Endpoint won that pistol, that could have been 12-6 if they didn't lose versus the Force by Ecos. Nevertheless, though, silver lining here will be the bomb plant. Yes, it's 9-7 now, but they will be able to buy up into the next round following this one. So there should be the eco here coming up from Endpoint. We just saw a very audacious call there from Imi to rush A. Could he go for the call to force buy into this one? And no, he's going to play it nice and safe. They have the 2-run advantage. Just concede this one, make it 9-8, and have the full buy around, the full AK firepower versus the SMGs and M4s into round number 18. Bomb towards underpass. 2 players towards Palace. You have Mighty Max holding for any mid-aggression from the CT side. Instead, though, Method playing it smart, just allowing the T's to walk into them.
Yep, Pulse here in the elevated angle as well. Waiting to go for the boost play, or potentially just jumped into him. Trying to shoot him down like fish in a barrel right now, but it's not really working out to his favor. Genko, though, luckily enough, will be able to peek and get that first kill back on towards Imi. And then everyone starts. Genko goes big with the M4. Cryptics will eventually chime in with a offensive frag, though, as he will take down Stanley, but that's about all they should get on the side of Endpoint into this round.
Yep, one frag is decent. Obviously, you'd like 2 kills on your ecos, try and take out $8,000, $10,000 worth of investment, but instead they will only get that 1 frag. It's not about the ecos now, though. A full buy comes in. There should be a 5 AK play. Decent utility as well. They did buy P250s, not really that big of a fan. If you're going to go for the full eco, just stay on Glocks, buy a flashbang. Yes, you can buy some pistols, but you want as many grenades in this round as possible. And look, one Molotov onto Mighty Max, 2 flashbangs onto Imi, flashbang onto Pickles, no smokes for 2 players. That might be detrimental if they want to go for a late round execute.
This is the thing as well, it could be very awkward, especially as they have to try and fight their way through this mid. Controller's current setup with Genko and Pulse holding the choke points has been very critical, but this time around they bypass it. Genko gets taken down so swiftly there from Jess. That's a great opening frag. Unfortunately, though, Pulse was in position by Jungle. Can strike through the smoke and get the opening frag. Imi, headshot galore as he charges his way through, flexing his muscle snots.
He does indeed. Pulse will find the frag through the smoke onto Pickles as he burns in the fire. 3 versus 3 now, Kits on the retake. And that frag is detrimental. Mighty Max has 4, 3 versus 2, 1-man advantage for Method now.
Smart use of utility there, forcing Max out with the fire and flames. You can see they're still playing it clever. They don't want to run the risk of letting this one slip away.
Bomb planted for Connector in jungle. Cryptics needs to find this frag. It's so important that he gets it. Now they can play for the afterplan.
That's massive. Decapitating pulse like that is so huge to the round. Imi peaks, but bites off more than he can chew, unfortunately, as he takes down Stanley. But Weber, of course, the man that's always clutching in these scenarios, does put out. Cryptics has the angle. But who's going to find the frag? Cryptics stumbles and falters a little bit. It's forced to fall back. Weber's been able to slip his way on towards the bomb site, uses that utility he had, taps the bomb to force the face, but Cryptics finds the headshot and keeps Endpoint moving.
That's a massive round to win. 10-8 now is the scoreline. Method losing the first buy round on their CT side. Cracks beginning to show. Thing is, though, Endpoint did lose 4 players into the round. The clutch was won by Cryptics in the 1 versus 1. Method, the silver lining once again is the money that Endpoint have in their pocket. If they can win this round, try and break that bank, they could finally get a lead here.
Yeah, that is great play. Just what they needed. They burnt through so much doing it, but at least they were able to pick that one up. And look at this as well. Actually, going to be the UMP on Stanley, and Weber just on a 5-7.
Yep, going to go for the force buy. Genko tries to go for seconds towards Connector. Last time it failed, and this time it fails again. 1-man lead once again for Endpoint as they charge on towards A. This is probably going to be a safe hit from Method. This should be 11-8 as long as Endpoint don't throw this.
That's big as well. They finally found their confidence to what is usually the best held position for Method. Normally very clean and clinical, holding that choke point towards Connector. This time around, though, they're just getting abused.
Abuse is an understatement as Max takes the head off of Pulse. Yesterday, speaking to the players, Endpoint said that Method had a very weak CT side, and they said theirs is weak too, but Method is weaker, and that was their plan of that was their plan of attack into this Mirage map. And you can see, obviously they've done their research, and their research shows weakness towards. He really does play the middle part of the map, and when he does, he plays towards jungle with a rifle, plays towards window with a rifle. That's why they're just charging up Connector, trying to exploit that. They smoke off jungle as they come. They're trying to isolate the 2 CT players on that A side.
I mean, it looks like they've actually, Endpoint have actually anti-stratted them off the back of some of these rounds. I mean, the opening pistol, we've seen that be more so the common default now for Method. We saw it obviously in EPS the game against Ascend. So reading into that, they've obviously gone for the all-out aggressive play towards them. The only down factor was that Genko rotated.
Why is this buy coming up from Method? They've lost, how many of those in a row now? Is it 3 or 2? It is 2. So they're only going to have 2,400 to the next round. So that means Pulse and Nilzinho can't buy. Genko, this is a USP. Nilzinho buys Kevlar helmet. Why does he buy that? This is such a weird buy coming up from Method. Frustration potentially showing here as the air attack comes from Ramp and Palace, raining in onto Nilzinho's P250.
Only redeeming factor is obviously he's playing at close angles. There is always a chance, but the AWP of Pulse misses as well. Genko from distance can actually wield the USP efficiently, but he will go down in the end. Pulse can strike from the shadows, finds 1 kill towards Jess, but he eventually gets traded out. You can see how annoyed he is off the back of this as well, leaving it just on the UMP brothers, Stanley and Weber, trapped in these awkward locations, getting burnt to a crisp. They will not be allowed to retreat, and Stanley is trapped all on his own. They are lobbing Molotovs all over the place.
Just save the AWP and fall back. Has no kit, can't go for a smoke ninja, just a flashbang in hand. This should be another positive from Method, I'm hoping anyway. The CT defense has been exploited. 3 rounds on the trot now. Both CT pistols were won for Endpoint and Method. And now into the buy rounds. It's always the momentum early for the T's. Nice shot there from Stanley. Will salvage his AWP into the next round. But the AWP is all they'll get.
Hot on his tower though. Obviously, Imi coming in from underpass just depends if Stanley's able to back away, because if he finds his kill into him, it would be ridiculous the amount of damage. Does get through though, that's a big impactful factor coming out, as I believe their cash is actually pretty shoddy.
It is indeed. So, it's going to be 12-8. Imi there with the entry. Cryptix as well found Jenko, and then Imi with the second frag towards jungle. Pulse's reaction to whiffing that second shot, you see how much this means to him. Currently discussing what on earth they can do. 2,000 in the bank. They can't really buy up into this one. I think he's got a CZ bought, so he doesn't have armor, has a CZ in his hand, smoke as well. This is going to be the quasi buy. They're going to let Endpoint get to 13. They brought it back from 13-5. Can they bring it back from 13-8?
I like that, mate. It's like hard mode casting. You have to
Yeah,
cast off their monitor.
Can we see any frag charts there? No. Those numbers are too small.
But anyway, Method going in for the tactical timeout. Obviously, we spoke about this because this is the situation they get into every time, where normally they'll have a very good T half. This time around, it was more mediocre as well. Wasn't even
exactly
as good as we usually expected. So they now get into that CT half. They're just getting terrorized by Endpoint that seem to have complete understanding of the way they play. They're playing around their weaknesses. They're looking good. So this is quite scary because Method need to switch it up. They need to get answers right now. Normally, when they get into this situation, you're looking at them fighting all the way through into OT and then winning out there.
Exactly, but it didn't happen last time.
Yeah.
The curse was broken. Endpoint finally beat the Nilzinho core on LAN. It's strange. I mean, why is it that Method, you know, seen as the best team in the UK, always have these slow starts? Anyway, 1 minute 50 on the clock. Round has just begun. 4 AKs on the T side. Imi brings forward the M4. We have an AWP into Jenko's arms. UMP onto Weber. USP on Nilzinho. So is Weber 4? I don't even know what's going on anymore, Jack.
I don't know, mate. The sound's all over the place. We can't hear the actual sound for what's going on, so confused me a little bit there, but it's fine. He seems to have sorted itself out. Max will come in 1 kill back on towards Weber. It's just Stanley left. He will strike, find 1 headshot, swiftly trying to roam around and take them down. He is left in a 1 versus 2. He's in a hat trick into this. Would have to be the ace for him to pick this one up. And if it's going to be anyone, it would be Stanley who'd want to claim it. Unfortunately, he will slip away. Cryptix will punish him. That's another round going towards Endpoint.
But what's Method's money like? Okay, so there was just a few players going for the quasi buy. I was worried there that Weber went for a tilt force, or Pulse went for the tilt force as well, but instead, they do concede that one. It's going to be the buy up into round number 22. Endpoint need 3 rounds to take this one. Method need 8. No more pistol rounds to buffer your CT number, your CT score. It's all going to come down to the buy rounds now. 4 M4s AWP for Method. 4 AKs AWP for Team Endpoint. Pulse peeks towards mid, falls back though. Are we going to see Endpoint take advantage of Connector once again? 2 players towards ramp of the bomb. Jesp once again towards Palace. It's all down to Nilzinho's AWP.
Nilzinho waiting for the push to come through as he just gets himself ready with the AWP in position, locked and loaded, hungry to snipe off the opposition. Pickles gets the first frag though. Jenko struggles a little bit there, but is actually able to compose himself in time to punish. Cryptix Max responds though with a great wallbang headshot. Nilzinho perches himself up on the high angle, has the eye in the sky, but can he actually find the frag and capitalize upon this? Unfortunately not, forced to fall back as well. Pickles in a great position to cut off the rotate here. This is looking fabulous.
It's planted for mid as well. Imi rotating back towards A ramp. It's planted for ramp, Connector and jungle. There's seamlessly no chance for Method to take this one, especially because they're double rotating in through CT. They have a kit onto Weber and for utility on him, but Nilzinho has the AWP. This scenario is so difficult. It's looking like 14-8 here for Team Endpoint.
So, retake with the AWP coming out. Nilzinho, he's just hungering, waiting for them to peek into him, but they will not do so. They're going to play it smart. They keep back, and they do pick up the round. 14 rounds on the board now for Endpoint. Method, that's going to hit them close to home. Pickles actually as well does have the information, I think, here. He could go for the play. Molotov and 2 flashes. He might not actually be aware of where they are. This could be kind of awkward, but he peeks into it. Unfortunately, won't get the frag.
Still though, 14th round. 14-8 is the scoreline. Heading into the next round. Money for the Method side should be decent. I mean, they have 2 players saving. They can drop over M4s from the money they get from the round loss bonus. And they will indeed. So, it's looking like the 4 rifle setup. Has Stanley been dropped a rifle? It should be. And yeah, so 4 M4s, AWP once again. Method able to buy after saving constantly. Round number 23. It's looking like Imi's going to call for himself to go solo out mid and have his teammates go towards his A side. Nilzinho getting aggressive now with the AWP towards A ramp. Imi did the same on his CT side. Can Nilzinho repeat the performance?
Contact play for Zeno. Will it work? Oh, the timing! That could have been an actual triple kill collapse at that point, but he will fumble it, lets it slip away, peeks up, but unfortunately Cryptics will take him down as they are left in a 4 versus 3. They do have the advantage of the round, they make it even better as well. Genko taking the fight through. Mighty Max burnt to a crisp as well, and it's all left on Imi with the AWP, but if he doesn't clear towards window, he'll get punished. Won't even matter. Genko swings out and takes him down there.
14-9. Surely this can't be another choke here from Endpoint. They managed to bring it back in overtime, but it was overtime. From a 13-5 lead, Method made it 15-15. Hopefully we don't see the same sort of play here from Endpoint on their T side. So, round number 24. Once again, the AWP in Imi's hands. Double AWP set up now on the Method side. Could this be the change of pace that Methods needs? Are they going to have one up towards B and one up towards mid? Yes, they are, but Imi has the spawn and gets there first.
He's quick. He leads. It's Imi.
Yes, exactly. Gonna go for another frag as well. Gets aggressive towards connector. Standing here towards B shot. Almost clips the shoulder there of the Mighty Max himself. Bomb. Jesp as well towards B apps. This is a good B split here if they do take advantage of the one-man advantage they have.
Yep, smoke going down to try and keep him at bay as well as he is forced to fall back. You can see Method already adapting their play style, looking a lot more timid off the back of losing that opening frag. Pulse, usually quite a prolific fragger in those late round situations. That is going to be devastating. They are getting tags out, but not quite converting them. Luckily enough, Genko is able to get 2 massive impact kills into the round.
Is this the beginning of the end here for Endpoint? From one-man lead, they choke it back. Well, they bring it back, sorry, to a 3 versus 4 in favor of Method.
Pushing their way through, going to play anti-flash, but Cryptic will be overpowered. Weber just toying with them right now. He's in such a good position. Max eventually find his head, but it's all left on Max. He bounces around the corner like an acrobat, strikes upon Stanley, grabs himself an AWP as well, but Max needs to cool himself off, calm down, and start to take these fights. Is aware of the location of the CT players, but he keeps missing the shot.
Should have landed that frag there towards B short onto Genko. Still though, has armor, has 30 seconds. Gets the frag onto Genko, 1 versus 1 between him and Nilzinho.
Actually, Jesp, of course, he's trying to find these kills. Will take down Genko, hungry for more as well as he repositions 2 frags already. That's so critical into the round. Still got 20 seconds left to play with Snod, so he doesn't need to overcommit to anything just yet. And it's up against Nilzinho. Nil just playing it slow and steady.
He's trying to see if Jess will actually run through kitchen towards A. He thinks that Jess may anticipate him to come from behind or short. Instead, though, Nilzinho being rotating in through kitchen, and Jess has the idea.
Oh, Jesp. Depends on how he plays it. Goes in, finds the frag, just shuts it down. Match point secured off another huge clutch round.
1 versus 3 and he takes it. I think that's a 1 versus 4 actually, I'm not quite too sure, but nevertheless a huge clutch there from the Swedish star. The import delivers 15, a match point. Weber shaking his head. He knows that you can't be giving those rounds away if you want to be considered the best.
Huge, huge play there. So important to actually start to do this damage. Look at that, as he leaps round as well. Ridiculous.
But how many opportunities did he have? Genko has a Molotov, a smoke, and 2 flashbangs. Just smoke the cross to the pillar, flash, you can molly towards default. Instead, they nearly conceded, but anyway, we are live into potentially the final round.
Yeah, and this is actually very close already. Even though they were on a bit of a force by Quasi, they have actually been boiled down to just 3 players. You can see, obviously, Endpoint as well, struggling to have a quick and easy one, though. They are just left with 2 men. Jess gets a sick headshot off on towards Pulsar, but there's the retaliation frag. Stanley takes down Cryptics. 2 angles to focus on, and only 1 pair of eyes.
Surely they can't let this one slip as well. Weber has the kit and utility, holding for the CT aggression from Jesp. He hopes that Jesp was walking to his crosshair, but does Jesp anticipate this play?
Oh, Jesp needs to clear the angle towards close CT. He isn't going to check it. He gets taken down. Jesp, frustrated.
We saw the same happen on Cash, though. A 14-10, 15-10 scoreline, and Method broke the bank of Endpoint and brought it back. Could we be seeing the same affair here? Money on the Endpoint side is low. 3,300 is the most they have, and actually Max will buy the Galil with that money. Galil, 3 Tech 9s, and a P250 smoke grenade for Imi, versus the Deagle, UMP to Nilzinho, and the 3 rifles as well on that CT side. Round number 26, 15-10, Method with a 5-round deficit.
Going for that all-out aggression into this round as well, just going to try and favour the weapons they have that don't have that much range potential, just flooding their way, and Stanley's playing on the window, sure, but he's struggling, and actually gets taken down by Jesphere. Weber can retaliate, though, as he's able to just flick all over the shop, finding easy kills, popping heads left, right, and centre. Pulse will clean up the situation as well, and they do stop room from getting the plant.
That position's actually called Weber as well, towards bench. It's named after him for a reason. Big 3K there from Weber. Secures round number 11. It's going to be the match pause. I believe this is a Team Endpoint tactical timeout, as it should be. 4 rounds separate these 2 teams. You've gone for the force by rush towards B. It hasn't worked. You've gone for the crazy play to try to catch him off guard, and Method were ready for it. You saw Weber discipline play. He gets spotted. He falls back. Smoke grenade towards the left side site. Falls back towards bench. Then holds them as they cross towards the site. Yeah, it is the tactical timeout there from Endpoint. Imi trying to give the right call to win this game. 2-0 for Endpoint. So, 15-11. They're going to eco this one, allow Method to get to 15-12. And at that point, it really does boil down to 1 or 2 buy rounds to settle if this goes to another second map OT.
Yeah, that's true. Everyone looking quite somber as well now.
I know.
Seems to have hit them, obviously. They were riding high beforehand, but they've perked down a little bit.
This clutch here from Jess was absolutely outrageous. But the fact that Jenko had full utility as well, didn't use a single grenade.
That's the thing. I think he was just waiting for the cross, right? Just wanted to try and
It was
play
weird.
together.
It was like,
but
just smoke the cross to smoke the right side arch, get behind the pillar, flush, molly default, do whatever, but buy time for Nilzinho.
yeah.
Instead, he just stands in the open, and Jesp has 3 different angles to peek him from. Anyway, though, 15-11, it's going to be the full eco. 4 Glocks, and Jess just wants to be different this time. Has a P250, but not for long.
Oh, they actually do some damage, though. The Glocks reigning supreme as they flood their way through, but this should be the cleanup crew coming into play. Nilzinho here underneath Dark, just tearing him a new one. Pulse as well, going to claim 2 frags. That is the clean and easy round out of the way, but now it's time for the absolute big one.
Exactly that. Money doesn't really play much of a factor here, as obviously it is match point for Endpoint. Method cannot concede one of these rounds with the remaining 3. So, 15-12. What will Endpoint bring out into this one? 5 AKs, no AWP. That might mean we see a execute or a contact play, a split towards B, a split towards A. Let's see if they're going to go fast towards connector again. They had success with this in the first buy round. Can they do it again?
It's very true. Normally they were able to get that aggression towards connector in their favour. The thing is, this is more of a double crossfire setup, actually, between Pulse and Jenko playing inside a connector.
Stand still towards mid, the 3 players just halting. Pickles finds that first frag though towards B short. That is detrimental to the CT defense as it leaves only Weber alone towards the B side.
Starts to create cracks in the defense. You can see they'll have to try and reposition around that as well because they won't know the true story.
Endpoint can play slow. You have the man advantage. Try and see if the CTs will try and equalize the numbers. See if they can get aggressive. Because right now, Weber gives up B apartments. He plays towards short. It's a little bit aggressive, but falls back as soon as Endpoint smoke off B short. And now the play comes in towards A. Can they split this site?
It's very true indeed. They try and take the fight now towards connector, playing around the blindness, but unfortunately Jess goes down. Nilzinho strikes upon Max as well, as they now have the advantage into the round. Even though the teams look so good at the start, it starts to fall back. Imi will come in with a headshot though on towards Jenko.
3 versus 3. Cryptic's alone towards ramp. Nilzinho spots it, and the bomb as well, as they do flee back towards T-spawn, trying to see what the damage is like, see where they can go. They don't really have any control of the map, except the fact that Weber is playing retake towards B. They've given up mid, and they've also given up A. So Method playing retake right now. They have 2 kits, but only a flashbang to use. If Endpoint get the bomb down in a 3 versus 3, you have to be favoring the afterplant to Endpoint.
It's true indeed. Weber though. Towards that bomb site, easy one taps as he finds the headshot on towards Pickles. Cryptix will dive down, but Cryptix does the same to him as well. Fires back into it. Pulse looking like he might go on the lonesome face, but Imi has the rotate cut off completely. He struggles though. The whiff comes out from Imi, uncharacteristic of him as he's played so flawlessly in this game, but it doesn't matter. Cryptix takes down Pulse. It's all on Nilzinho. AWP in hand, close range combat. The no-scope comes out as he needs to try and go for the bomb plant here. Taps on the defuse. Imi's mile away. The Molotov will come in, but it's not going to force him off. Seems like he's got the defuse. They stay alive for another round.
15-13, that will be the scoreline. As we head into round number 28, things are really getting close now. So, all it takes is 1 round for Endpoint to take this 16-13. They did get the bomb down, that's crucial. That means they will be able to buy up into this round potentially. Weber, you can see the stress that's on his shoulders right now. These players give up everything for this game and for this league. Every single week matters. Bomb was planted, they have enough to buy up into this one. Pulse going to aggressive towards underpass. I don't think he's going to catch anyone off guard. Here's the steps from Mighty Max towards BAPS. That might force a rotate, actually.
Oh, look at this though, Pulse coming from behind. Max completely unaware, as you said, finds the easy kill. And that is devastating.
Once again, though, 3 Ts towards middle. Pickles trying to see if he can get a frag towards B short once again. On to Stanley, but this time he's going to play far more passive. They're trying to exploit connector for a 3rd time.
Jenko towards jungle. Such a powerful player. Always so amazing in those situations where he can just hold the choke point. He's not been as good as normal, and this time around it'll be Cryptix to actually overpower him.
4 versus 4, now the site is given up. Nilzinho playing retake with the AWP towards CT. They can get the bomb down, they can get it planted for jungle as well because Jess finds the frag and the second one onto Weber.
He's tearing his way through. Pulse has to try and retaliate, but it doesn't work out. Imi shuts him down. It's all on Nilzinho once again. History repeats itself, but will this be the definition of insanity? He peeks out, but he can't do it. Jess takes him down. Endpoint get a fiery 2-0 and tear their way through Method.
19 to 17 on Cash, the first map. From 13 to 5, Method bring it back to OT, but Endpoint still prevail. Second map there, 16 to 13, nearly threw that at one away. Once it did reach crunch time, 15 to 10, you can see the pressure there on Nilzinho and the boys in red.
That's the thing, they were the underdogs. They were going into it. You could see first map, it went on for so long. I expected a slobber knocker, but it went the whole 30 rounds and more so. They went into OT, eventually Endpoint come out on top, and then you think at that point, right, they've got all the makings for this now. They've got the natural tools, they've got the lineup, and they've got the confidence.
It's a massive loss for Method though. You've gone 1-1 versus Epsilon, 1-1 versus Excel, and the 0-2 loss to Endpoint could be detrimental to getting top 4.
That's the thing, it forces them very far down, whereas Endpoint now cascade themselves above of Method off the back of this win. Yeah.
They're on 4 points, and Method should be around 3, so after a fairly poor showing initially in the Elite Series from Endpoint, they are now in the lead versus Method.
There you have it. Could that be the end point of Method's careers there off the back of that huge win for Endpoint? But let's go back over to Tom, someone that's career's already in.
Thank you very much, Jackie. Thank you very much, Snods. 19-7 on Cash, and then 16-13 on Mirage there. 1 win for Endpoint, 1 draw, 1 loss. Method have their first loss. They've had 2 draws. I'll tell you what, there were no pushovers, were they, Method? Harold, can I have your looking at me? Thank you very much. You're with me now. Can I just explain, what on earth is a slobber knocker? Jackie was talking about he was expecting one, ended up being a real grind, both maps.
Well, I would say that was quite the slobber knocker.
Yeah.
That was a slobber knocker.
Yeah.
What is a slobber knocker then?
Well, it's like a...
What we just saw.
Like a slobber knocker.
Yeah. Yeah, what we just saw.
Yeah, a slobber knocker.
Like a Knickerbocker Glory with a cherry on the top?
A Knickerbocker Glory is completely different.
Okay,
this was a slobber knocker.
Be reasonable.
What is a slobber knocker?
Yeah, like that was a slobber knocker.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a slobber knocker.
Okay, so what you've just seen there in Endpoint versus Method was a slobber knocker.
Right.
In the end, though, Endpoint victorious. Did you see it being that way?
I think everybody predicted it was 2-0 Method, so I don't think anybody saw it coming this way. And
why though? Why though, Essia? Put all your analysis in your mind of a CS:GO player and now analyst and panel person. Why did Method just lose both matches?
I think it was quite like a, I wouldn't say improvement, because it was much more than that on the CT side of Endpoint. I think it was, 3 CT rounds they got on Mirage last week. They tripled that this week. I think it was 4 in the second week on Cash. They tripled that as well. So it was 300% improvement on CT side overall in this series, which clearly is the big difference here. Like, we didn't expect them to improve that much, obviously, but that was the big difference in my mind.
Yeah, and what about yourself, Harold?
Well, it was just a massive step up in performance for Endpoint, really. They played really well. And especially Jess is someone that we've been looking at in the last 2 weeks to really step up. He's one of those players that should be stepping up, and today we've seen that. Especially in that late game, he had a hell of a few clutches that really kept his team in it. So at the end of the day, you've got to say well done, Jesp, and Imi as well. Imi played incredible, absolutely insane. You've got to remember, he's in IGL, and up until this tournament, he's never been seen as a big fragger. He's absolutely killed it this tournament.
He really, really
or at
has.
least this week.
I am going to have a little look right now, as everyone else is, at Jesp's massive clutch. Here it is.
His massive clutch.
Really kept him in the game at times, and then obviously just dominating. But Method kept coming back. But let's talk us through here what happened with Jesp.
This clip confused me quite a bit because of the way Janko is playing. He sees him in that corner, shoots at him. Janko stays still.
Yeah.
He then goes again, misses him, he stays still.
Why though?
I don't actually
Why didn't you move? Surely move at that point.
I'm not sure. I'm assuming he didn't want to take the risk of moving and then being caught in the open. But, you just left there, no trade possibility, and that's down to a 1v1, which, if you're the guy who was originally with your team, you're like, why have you put me in this?
And you've got an experienced player here with Nilzinho. What would go through Nilzinho's head? He needs to get there, to try and protect any opportunity to plant a bomb, but...
Yeah, Jesp utilised the amount of time he had left really, really well. He sought out to see, is he coming short, is he coming behind? At the end, he realises he has to be in market. Yeah. So he gets the catch, obviously, in midair, and wins the round. And
as we all know, don't jump through windows, otherwise you'll get shot. But yeah, Jesp was brilliant there, and obviously, because we said last week, he really struggled on Mirage, showed a massive improvement for him as well.
Yeah, definitely. I remember I mentioned I kind of sympathise with him because it does happen. You have to battle your own inner demons in a way. And that second map should be a nice sign for him. He's like, I am this good, and hopefully he can maintain that.
So where do these teams go from now, Harold? You look at Endpoint pushing forward and Method taking a step back in many respects. 2 draws. And then now they've got their first loss.
Yeah,
so.
well, Method need to look at their performance this week and say, what did we do wrong? Endpoint need to work on consistency. If they complain like that all the time, you know, the comebacks that Method were able to make, you've got to look at that and say, what did we do wrong? How do we iron that out? Because the rest of their game was flawless. You know, they played really, really well, and when they were getting run at, when they were getting charged down, they were dealing with it excellently. So if Endpoint can look at that and improve on the points that weren't as great, they'll be a really, really strong team going into the rest of this league.
Okay, well, thank you very much, SEO Harold, you bunch of slobberknockers. Listen, I've got great news for you. The game of the day is still to come. The untouchable Envious against the unbeaten and probably maybe unbeatable Prophecy is coming your way at 9 p.m. So be sure to join us for that one. See you very shortly.